Hello everybody and welcome back to live coverage of round 7 of the Club 100 Sprints Championships for 2021. Andrew Mather and Kieran McGinley back in the box, primed, fed, watered and ready to go for the lightweights and their 7th round of their season taking place here at Bayford Meadows this afternoon. And we've just had the test session completed for the lightweights, and James Martin was fastest on a 54.259. Samuel Essery second, Dan Seeger third, Reece Pope fourth, Pietro Pagano in 5th place. Format for this afternoon: if you weren't here for the heavyweights earlier on in the day, and if you weren't here for the heavyweights earlier on in the day, do make sure that you go back and watch all the action from the heavyweights, particularly that A final. That was something to behold, and unlike anything we've seen in a very long time. But the format, each driver will race in 3 heats this afternoon, starting 1 from the front, 1 from the middle, 1 from the back. There'll be 4 groups essentially, so you've got 12 heats. 3 times 4 equals 12 heats, and then 3 finals to decide who takes the big points here from Bayford Meadows today for Club 100 Racing, round 7 on the 12th of September 2021. Club 100 in association with ROTAX, and the weather has blessed us very well here at Bayford Meadows. 1,200 metres in length, 12 turns, very technical, very tricky circuit to get right, and produces some fantastic racing. As we say, the weather has blessed us. The clouds have pretty much gone now. Still a few clouds in the sky, but nice and warm here today at Bayford Meadows. Not too hot though, light breeze across the circuit, and very little chance of rain. Thank you, JMW Forecast, for that forecast. That's myself, Andrew Mather in the box again. Kieran McGinley stepping in last minute. Super sub comes in as Mr. Mitchell has COVID. Kieran, this morning was quite something. What did you think of it?
It was great fun, wasn't it? And if it's anything like this morning, this afternoon should be absolutely brilliant. One of the best day finals, as you've said, we've seen in quite some time. And the fact that one driver at the front maybe didn't have quite the kart they were expecting, had to go defensive, I mean, it means it bunched up everybody else behind, created some close action. It
did indeed. So the order of events, or let's say the order of events, we've done the order of events, let's do the order of the championship. And what does the championship look like after 6 rounds? We're very much into the second half of the season now. Championship leader, when drop scores are applied into the game, currently with a perfect score, is Jack O'Neill. Has been dominant so far this season, and was running pretty well yesterday in the endurance and the sprint 60s events. Ed Barr's reigning champion is 5 points behind, so whilst Jack O'Neill's got a perfect score of what he could possibly get, Ed's is not too far behind as well. Just the odd 2nd place and a 3rd place here and there. That's putting 5 points back. Dan Healy, last year's runner-up, is a further 4 points back on 561. Daz Teal is then 4th in a tie on points for 4th at the moment between himself and Mike Coppin on 554. So 570, 565, 561, 554. That's your top 5. Steve Hicks looking for, he's had a lot of consistency so far this season, but looking for better results, especially in those finals. He's currently in 6th place in the championship on 547. 7th and currently leading in C2 is the ever-impressive Peter Knight, who made his sprints debut here at Bayford Meadows 12 months ago. He was a C3 back then. He's already established himself in 12 months as one of the big players in this division. 546 for him. Joshua Adams, another one of the C1s. We had him earlier speaking on the Young Drivers Championship piece that you'll have seen so far today. We also had him in the DDMM Barnstormers endurance kart at Ella Park and showed his talents there. Great speed. Look out for him today on 540 points. 9th place, Pietro Pagano on 539. 10th, Rihanna Percox on 532. And just to go through the rest of the key positions, Alistair Irvin 2nd in C2 at the moment. Steph Theodori 3rd, with Reece Pope not too far behind. And let's not forget the C3s for our novices. Samuel Essery currently leading of the novices in 36th place in the championship overall. As I say, he's just had a very impressive practice session. Amy Breacher is 2nd. Aidan Rudge is 3rd. You can get in touch with us in the commentary box. If you're watching on YouTube, on the Alpha Live YouTube channel, drop your comments in there, all coming to us in the box. On Twitter as well, at @MM. Let us know who you're supporting and following today. And if you're watching on Facebook as well, on either the Club 100, DDMM or Kart Magazine pages, thank you for joining us. We're going to get ready for race number 1. Kart's heading out then for heat number 1 in the lightweights. Let's have a look at the grid for this random grid heat. Jack O'Neill has pole position. Stephen Westwood alongside on the front row. Fraser Brunton and Steve Hicks are on row 2. Ed Bars and Archie Hobson start from row number 3. Daniel Cohen and Daniel Healy start on row 4. Dante Dillon and Rihanna Percock start on row 5. Jed Toole and Ben Lambeth are on row 6. And then we find Robin Kassam and Sean Glennon on row 7, Sam Morris and Alex Brandom on row 8. Samuel Essery wraps out the 17 kart field. We mentioned Joel Arguelles earlier on in the day in the super heavyweights category. We've got 2 BIKC champions today here in the lightweight, so we'll be talking to Dante Dillon, who's on this grid, P9, and Sam Slater later on. Those interviews later in the week. Chris asks, did I bring my own sandwiches for lunch today? No, I did not. I sampled the jacket potato and chili con carne from the wonderful diner that we have, American-style diner that we have here at Bayford Meadows, and it was very, very good. Very good indeed.
You can tell it was very good because before we came back on air, it was all Andrew could talk about, really.
Yeah, and the bacon sandwich that I had in the middle of the practice session before my silly 2-hour solo mission was pretty good as well. So yeah, so good. A Northerner got his wallet out. There's Ed Bars, reigning champion. He's definitely got a bit of a job on to retain that title this year, because in this lightweights category, there's the diner. Wonderful place. Jack O'Neill has very much been on form, and he had good speed yesterday, Jack O'Neill, but did not win in either of the competitions, and I think that might have fired him up. Being on that second spot on the rostrum for endurance yesterday. And so yeah, look for a charged up Jack O'Neill, who also ran very well here in sprints 12 months ago. So practice laps going on at the moment. Don't worry, you're not missing any competitive action at the moment. This is the regular format of what happens before each first appearance of drivers in their sprint races. So they get 3 laps to warm themselves up, and then we go for the races. I do play the day job for the weight gain. They chain me to a desk. That's all I'm going to say. Can't exercise.
That's always the way, isn't it? They chain you to the desk, and that's how it happens.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
It's all downhill from there. So yes, so 12 heats here at Bayford Meadows for the lightweights this afternoon. We had a great round at Rye House a couple of months or so ago now. Hello to Max, who's asking for a shout out for Aidan Rudge. Big things expected from him today. We'll keep an eye out for Aidan as the pace kart picks up the beginnings of the field. And, what's happening there with Jack O'Neill? Has Jack O'Neill got a problem? Jack O'Neill is meant to be starting this race from pole position, and I think has an issue. He has come to a stop on the back straight, and he's pointing down in the direction of the chain. It doesn't tend to be a circuit for chain failures, but it's either that or he's poking down. Well, of course, you've got the engine on that side as well. So there may be a short delay here to the start of this race, as we saw this occur in the heavyweights earlier with one heat. But just to run through that grid again, Jack O'Neill should be starting this race from pole position. Stephen Westwood second, so that's 99 and 81. Fraser Brunton and Steve Hicks to the rescue. International Rescue is on the move to get Jack O'Neill a new kart. Row 3, Ed Bars and Archie Hobson. Then it's the two Dans, Dan Cohen and Dan Healy on row 4. Super lightweight champion in the BIKC, the British Indoor Karting Championship, Dante Dillon alongside Rihanna Percox on row 5. Yeah, there's going to be a kart change here for Jack. See Muttley there just helping out to get Jack's equipment over to the new kart and then back into this race. The rest of the field will keep touring round, get a few more slow-paced formation laps in, and at least, Kieran, once Jack is up and running, we know exactly where he's going to the front of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. And once he does get going, you know, it's not the ideal way to start your day's worth of racing, is to have a kart that just doesn't want to play anymore. But look at that, he started just in time to take his spot at the front. Talk about timing.
Needs a big first lap though, because he's going to have a cold kart now. Now we have seen across the day so far, if you're in P3, that's a good spot to be, because you can get the inside line and get P2 through the first corner. So we'll look out for Fraser Brunton. But we are good to go for 7 minutes here at Bayford Meadows, heat number 1 for lightweights. Round number 7, and a very good start indeed for the pole side of the grid. Jack O'Neill sprints through into the lead. Fraser Brunton does take second place away from Stephen Westwood early on. Ed Bars is up to 4th, Steve Hicks 5th, and then everybody else going through turn number 3. As who is that off? It looks like it's the number 49 of Alex Brandon. So he is out of the race already. Well, in terms of getting a decent position, there's a contact warning for Ben Lambeth, number 53. And for Rihanna Percox, kart number 5. Carol Smith says the Tracy brothers haven't aged well. I'm going to make no comments on that before I get myself in even more trouble than I already am. Early stages of this race, though, and a good calm start from the lightweights here. End of lap 1, Jack O'Neill leads ahead of Fraser Brunton. Stephen Westwood has held up in 3rd place there, which is good to see. Steve Hicks was down the inside of Ed Bars there, going for 4th. Was not able to take it, although a TLW 4 Bars there. Dan Healy as well in 6th, and a good start for BIKC champion Dante Dillon. He's up to 7th place.
It's a good start as well from Jack O'Neill. Not easy when you've got a brand new fresh kart being delivered to you. As you said, would have been cold on the brakes and the tyres, but managed to make it work really, really well. There he is now, making his way through in towards turn 8, on towards turn 9 we go. Fraser Brunton trying to close in as best he can. Then the 81 of Stephen Westwood, 3rd place at the moment. Edward Bars there in 4th. As that's Steve Hicks getting slightly onto the grass on entry in towards turn 10 there. Just trying to use all the track he possibly can. But on to the 3rd lap's worth of racing still. Jack O'Neill leading the way ahead of Fraser Brunton, and it's Stephen Westwood in 3rd place. Daniel Healy getting a contact warning in the number 2 kart.
Jack O'Neill being cheered on by the Titan Motorsport crew. Hello to Mike Philippou, who was racing here yesterday. Another member of that stable. Says, come on, Jack O'Neill. He's doing a very good job at the moment. Fraser Brunton going with him. You just wonder, will Fraser at this stage work with Jack, get a big gap out over the rest of the field and guarantee at least 2nd place?
He, of course, entered the championship at the 3rd round, so missed the first 2, but you know, lies 12th place in the overall standings in the championship, does Fraser Brunton. So he knows good results are needed all the way through if he wants to try and catapult himself up the order. At the moment, though, half a second between our leaders. There's the number 5 kart of Percox trying to go up the inside of Edward Bars there. Rihanna Percox, did she get that move done? Coming all the way through. Yes, she did. So up a position she goes, up into 6th place. And now the next driver on our list will be the number 21 of Stephen Hicks up ahead.
Yeah, this is not the start that Ed Bars would have been looking for. He's going to potentially put him on the back foot in comparison to Jack O'Neill and Dan Healy as well, who's having a solid race at the moment, a quiet race, but they're in 4th place and will be looking to close in and get past Stephen Westwood if he can. C3 updates, Samuel Essery leads in C3, he's 13th overall, has worked his way through that subclass. It's the final corner, goes Percox, and he's got a good gap over Bars, won't get attacked on the counter. And you see Dante Dillon there in the number 50. New helmet design now, looks things from Dante, who's raced not just in the BIKC, but raced in the British Universities Karting Championship before as well. Races for Nottingham Trent University, as you see on the back of his suit there. And the BUKC coming back very, very soon, of course. Well, they have the first test sessions through October before we have the qualifiers in November at Wilton Mill, and back to the old format of qualifiers as well, which I'm very much in favour of. But that's for then. This is for now, 3 minutes to go.
Ben Lambeth, who came up there, penalty for ABC. So that's going to be a couple of positions penalty for him. So he'll fall down the order. But Dante Dillon, you're right, up into 2nd place in class at the moment in those C2s, doing a fine job of keeping good Bars and keeping his wits about him. Track limits then for Ben Lambeth and Fraser Brunton on that last lap. Fraser Brunton trying to chase down the leader, and Stephen Westwood's got a penalty for track limits. So as was said in the briefing earlier on today, you get 1 track limit warning, and the second one is the penalty. So there is no remorse for your second excursion off the track.
Yeah, that's a shame for Stephen. The main corners to be looking out for on track limits: exit of turn 1 and exit of turn 11. So that's the fast right-hander just before the last braking zone of the lap. So Stephen Westwood has used up his get-out-of-jail-free cards on that one, and yeah, cost himself a 2-place penalty as a result. And has also fallen behind Dan Healy, as you see, confirmed there across the line. There's Steve Hicks, 5th place at the moment for Steve. Rihanna Percox just behind. These two drivers have battled many times over the years. Both very experienced Club 100 Sprints drivers. Just nursing their way through out of turn 4. And Ed Bars seems to have refound or rekindled a bit of speed in that number 1 kart. Is holding on to the rear bumper of Percox pretty well. And shout out for Scotty Hawthorne. You can see, keep your comments coming in. It's his 9th birthday. He's just got a go-kart from his dad for his birthday. So thank you for sending that message in, Maxwell. Happy birthday, Scotty. Brianna Percox slightly sideways. Big laps just gone in from Jack O'Neill. This is a very, very good response to the troubles before this race. Last lap board is now out. 54.290 for Jack O'Neill there.
Unfazed would be the word for Jack O'Neill today, especially in this race, having that problem at the start. The kart just packing up and not playing anymore. Had to get a new kart. He's done really well. Meanwhile, Rihanna Percox has a last lap attempt to try and get past Stephen Hicks for what would be 5th place in this race. Might be even higher when you take into effect of Stephen Westwood's penalty that will be applied at the end of the race.
So coming into the last couple of corners now, Jack O'Neill is going to take a very routine victory here and gets his day off to the perfect start. Takes heat number 1 here at Bayford Meadows. Thumbs up there. Fraser Brunton, very good again from the youngster P2. Dan Healy P3. Stephen Westwood 4th, but should still be your C2 winner in that field, even with his track limits penalty. Steve Hicks and Rihanna Percox 5th and 6th. Ed Bars 7th. Dante Dillon 8th. Ben Lambeth 9th. Jad Toole, Dan Cohen 10th and 11th. Winner in C3 was Sam Essery, ahead of Sean Glennon. Archie Hobson disappointed, a shake of the head there in 14th place. 15th for Robin Kassam, Sam Morris and Alex Brandon bring us home. Well, good stuff there from the lightweights. Already Heat 2 is out for their practice laps. have a look at the grid then for heat number 2 here at Bayford Meadows for the lightweight sprints. Round number 7 for 2021 here at Club 100. Aidan Rudge, he's had a shout out already, and now he's got a pole position alongside Josh Adams on the front row. Greg Smith returns to sprints action. He's on row 2 alongside Andrew Ravage. Chris Rudger and James Wattis start on row 3. Pietro Pagano and Jason Bradbury on row 4. Bailey Morgan and James Martin row 5. Rogerio Mendez and Dan Seeger are there on row number 6. James Browning and Dean Everest on row 7. Tim Clark and James Dunnett on row 8. And Amy Breacher, who's been having a great season in C3, starts 17th. Keep your comments coming in. Good afternoon to Mr. Callum Brule, and you know I'm going to say it, formerly of Warwick and Cranfield Universities, ABkC driver, and we have got quite a few Warwick drivers out in this field today. Got Alistair Urban out there and Archie Hobson, and he's saying, afternoon lads, shame I couldn't be here today, but with the state I was in this morning after a wedding, it's a good job I didn't enter. I mean, I'm going to get myself in trouble again here. We have seen, as long as you're under the limits,
well,
the Scottish approach, as I call it, is often applied by Scottish universities, has resulted in some good pace before for drivers. So I agree with DW Media. That's a poor excuse. You've missed an opportunity there, Callum, to get some good results.
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those. Could have done, but I think enjoying this racing action whilst slightly recovering might be a better agenda for the day, I think.
Well, very glad to have you with us, Callum. And whilst we've got a slight pause, I should say a quick note about another person who's unfortunately missing today. It's very likely watching. Howard is not the only DDMM member of the race team not here this weekend, because some of you will have noted that Andrew Ward's absence from the entry list today. Unfortunately, Andrew had a bit of a problem, a bit of a health problem last week playing rugby. He's fine. He's able, but he's not fit for racing yet. So he's sadly out for the season. So I just want to say, whilst we've got a short pause in proceedings, Wardy, if you're watching, we're all thinking of you, and we can't wait to have you back. And we very much hope that you make a full recovery, and that we see you back here at the Club 100 event very, very soon. So Heat 2 heading out, or already headed out, and doing their practice laps. Drivers coming across to complete their third laps. There is Josh Adams in the blue and white suit. Good chance this for Josh to get solid points on the board. As we say, I had the pleasure of having him on the DDMM endurance team at Ella Park last time out. It was very, very quick indeed. Just checking as well what well, Josh has had. Yes, he has had heat wins so far this season, so he's be going for his 5th here if he can do this. Everyone just getting into grid formation. James Martin, you saw there, was fastest in practice earlier. Pace Karts pulls off. It's over to Aidan Rudge to control the start on this one. Away they go. Sweeped across the front. Josh Adams very wisely gets across and holds P2 straight away there.
Full start, I think that is.
Yeah, full start. And I imagine that was for the way the pole sitter tackled that one, because he held the whole field up and then bolted, which technically you can't do. So they'll have another go at that one now. The pole sitter, Aidan Rudge, needs to be careful there, because if he does that again, he could receive a penalty from race control. Callum makes a very good point that the issue would have been the drive down to Kent. Yeah, fair play. Fair enough. Hello to Max and Charlotte Glennon, watching Dad Sean racing today. Thank you for tuning in. Chris chiming in again says, racing with DDMM sounds high risk. I mean, I'm fine. I'm perfectly okay. It's the rest of the team that keep breaking on me. Here we go then. Attempt number 2 to start this one for heat number 2 under starters orders. And Once again, pole sitter holding a fairly steady speed, waiting, and actually the race time has been reduced on this one as well, so 5 minutes. Across goes the pole sitter, so Aidan Rudge holds onto the lead. Josh Adams holds onto P2 as well. Greg Smith already up to third. Into the first braking zone they go, and oh, look at that. Josh Adams down the inside looking for the lead and has got it. Takes a big chunk of curb through turn 2 to get that inside line. That was superbly done.
Yeah, timed it perfectly there, did Josh Adams. Now takes the lead then as the contact warning, first contact warning goes out to Bailey Morgan in this heat as they now file their way through the next couple of quarters onto that short run towards turn 8 then. As Josh Adams lead then from Aidan Rudge in second place. Then it's Greg Smith rounding off our top 3, battling away at the tail end of the order though. And there is Aidan Rudge, who's second place right now as they make their way, while their way through turns 10 and 11. Onwards then towards the final corners at turn 12. But there is Josh Adams leading the way ahead of Aidan Rudge, Greg Smith in third place. Then it's James Wattis in fourth, Andrew Rabbage rounding off the top 5 at the moment, Bailey Morgan in sixth. As once again they make their way through in towards turns 1 and 2. There's the 61 right on the outside. Andrew Rabbage is being passed by Pietro Pagano then. So Pagano up a position. And meanwhile, right behind, James Wattis fancies Greg Smith's podium position. A penalty awarded then to Bailey Morgan.
Yeah, bump and pass, so that'll be 4 positions at the end of the race. There's Greg Smith, ran very well in C3 last season, promoted up to C2, and this is good to see in the lightweights that some of our C3s from 2020 stepping up now and definitely getting in amongst it. Andrew Ravage in similar regard for that, and shows what can be done, especially for those C3s in the 2021 edition. Side by side, Wattis and Smith there going over third place. But Josh Adams continues to lead, 55.166 last time around. Pretty much matched by Aidan Rudge. Wattis down the inside of Smith, gets through. There's Bailey Morgan in the blue suits with the pink legs, and Pietro Pagano on the scene as well. Ever an experienced driver. As the cone penalty for James Wattis. So James Wattis has knocked over one of the pieces of track furniture out there on the circuit, and that will be +1 position at the end of this race.
Yeah, Bailey Morgan trying to find his way past, but he's got to be careful because he's already on the 1 contact warning there. As they now make their way through in towards turn 10, filing in through turn 11. Battle for third place very nicely developing here in towards the final corner. And James Wattis with that penalty, that will of course happen at the end of this race as they head their way in towards turn 1. Bailey Morgan tries a little bit of a switch back here. Wattis runs wide at the exit of 1. Bailey Morgan up the inside. That's going to be him taking that position. So too does Pagano, then takes full advantage of that one. He now moves up a position as well. Now Bailey Morgan will have Pagano looking right behind. He's got to be careful now, but Greg Smith now trying to battle away with that 103 of James Wattis now. So they're now battling for, I think that's 6th place.
Yep, Chris Wood has had a penalty, if we've not mentioned it already, for forcing a driver wide. So that will be a driver being forced beyond track limits. So that'll be a couple of positions for Chris. There's Bailey trying to overcome that penalty as far up the order as possible and still score well. Cross start finish. Josh Adams checking over his shoulder there, sees a good 0.8 second lead over Aidan Rudge.
And Bailey Morgan. Sorry, I think we were going to say the same thing. Bailey Morgan, fastest lap of the race so far. Oh, sorry to take that from you, Andy.
That's all right.
But Greg Smith here on the back then of James Wattis. Then this is back for 5th place right now as we tick down into the final couple of seconds of the heat plus the remaining lap to go. And is there a way through for Smith then as he tries to find a way through turn 7 onto that short run towards turn 8? We will go. Thinks about a move up the inside, definitely tries to make the space, which he does up the inside. He'll be on the outside if he can't close the door, but he manages to do it. And now up into 5th place goes Greg Smith. Yeah,
forceful move there from Greg Smith. Good confidence going on that inside line. Changes for position to report as well. Dan Seeger, he just caught a sight of him in the blue suit there. Blue and white helmet is up to 7th place. Last lap board is out. Rogerio Mendes and Amy Breach, who have also got past James Dunnett, 13th and 14th places respectively. There is forced to the outside there was Aidan Rudge. Now, Bailey Morgan getting past isn't too much of a problem with the penalty, but Pietro Pagano gaining a spot there. So Pagano now effectively sitting in second place.
Yeah, he's done fantastically well. Last lap, fast lap of the race for him, and the race, 54.427. He knows he's probably got that move. He probably knows he's got that move already with the penalty that will be applied. However, he'll want to get that out on track for sure as they make their way through the final couple of corners. Of course, there is Josh Adams then making his way through turn 10 and on towards the final couple of corners.
Indeed. Well, this has been a bit of a race for the young drivers. Two drivers we featured earlier in the YDC. Josh Adams wins for the 5th time this season in the lightweight sprints. Bailey Morgan second. Does have a penalty though, so we'll fall a little bit way down the order. Pietro Pagano in third, Aidan Rudge fourth. Greg Smith, James Wattis, Dan Seeger, Andrew Rabbage, James Martin and Chris Wood will take us down to 10th. Dean Everest, wins in C3. In 11th place, Jason Bradbury, 12th. 13th for Rogerio Mendez, Amy Breacher, James Dunnett, Tim Clark and James Browning wrap us out. Let's move swiftly on though to heat number 3. Let's have a look at the grid then for the third heat of 12 for our lightweights here today at Bayford Meadows. Interesting grid this one. Steph Theodorou will be on pole position, I believe. Yep, there it is. Rob Langthorpe alongside him on the front row. Matt Collier and Oscar Lancaster on row 2. Keith Segal and Mike Coppin on row number 3. Sam Slater, one of our BIKC champions, will form up on the 4th row of the grid. Joshua Sangster will be also on that 4th row of the grid. The 5th row of the grid will be Daz Teal and Garrett Berry. Adrian Mertens and Cameron Williams line up 11th and 12th on the 6th row of the grid. Peter Sharp and Luke Dennett on row 7. Ross O'Brien and Finn Farrow on row 8. Simon Sharp completes the 17 runners in this heat. So practice laps continuing here at Bayford Meadows. And Kieran, what are your thoughts on the first 2 heats that we've seen so far of the lightweights?
Yeah, it's been promising. We've got some quick drivers. We know over the season how important these heat points are going to be, how important that position in the final is going to be as well. And if we have anything like the heavyweights this morning, the action is just going to get better and better as the drivers get more and more confident. Obviously, when it comes to heat racing, normally you're pit up against different drivers throughout the day, so you get an idea of how everybody's going to be racing once you get to your final. But it's all about making sure you get the best points possible, get the best positions possible from wherever you start. But so far, so good in that case.
A few C1s in this race. Rob Langthorpe, Mike Coppin and Daz Teal. Rob Langthorpe, the highest position on the grid of those 3 drivers. So you could argue that Rob would be the favourite for this one. But there are some fairly strong C2s and experienced C2s in this field. The pole sitter, for example, Steph Theodorou, who's been doing this championship for a good few seasons. And let's not count out Sam Slater, our lightweight BIKC champion. Has P7 in this one. Also has a pole position later in the day as well, which we'll keenly follow. 3 laps completed by all of our drivers, so they'll start to form the grid up now. Theodorou, Langthorpe, row 1. Collier, Lancaster, row 2. Segal, Coppin, row 3. Slater, Sangster, row 4. Teal, Berry, row 5. Mertens and Williams on row 6. Sharp and Dunnett, row 7. O'Brien and Farrow, row 8. Simon Sharp on his lonesome there on row number 9. Thumbs up in the air indicate that we are good to go racing here for lightweight sprint heat number 3, Club 100 2021 at Bayford Meadows, live here on Alpha Live. 7 minutes on the clock. the lights go green, away we go. Now, can Rob Langthorpe get across and hold P2 there as they go into turn 1? He's going to have a good go around the outside of Matt Collier in the number 41, but maybe get forced out wide. It's been a good start, though, for Steph Theodorou. New lid for Steph Theodorou on this stream. Has done perfectly what he needed to do there, out front, holding that position from pole.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike Coppin also trying to make his way through the order then in that number 3 kart, up to 4th place now. As the rest of the field now file their way through. Be careful of that cone. You don't want to be hitting that one at this stage. It's a very, very slap on the wrist penalty coming your way if you do even touch that. But the drivers now make their way through in towards turn 8. Bit of battling going on in the midfield. But there's Rob Langthorpe, currently 2nd place, but a good start from Steph Theodorou. He's trying to build the gap now. Now, Mike Coppin's now up into 3rd place now on this opening lap, so he's had a great start.
Yeah, very well fought from both of the C1s there with the red number plates. C2s have the black number plates. Contact warning for Daz Teal, Sam Slater and Joshua Sangster have got CWs as well. Rob Langthorpe already hustling the rear axle of Steph Theodorou, who chops across to defend there into turn number 4, but runs a little bit deep. This might be an opportunity for Rob Langthorpe to do a cutback. Mike Coppin there, the number 3 seed, is on the scene. Saw some fantastic, in fact, up the inside, takes 2nd place with a very, very bold move on Rob Langthorpe there. And Rob Langthorpe says, away you go, Mike. Let's chase down Steph Theodorou. We saw some very entertaining racing this morning from Mike's Applewood teammates, endurance teammates, Alex Pritchard and Chris Alcock. Are we going to see the same here from Mike Coppin in the lightweights? 6 minutes quickly being eroded away down to 5 minutes. End of lap 2. 7 laps will be what we expect to see for this heat. Side by side between Sam Slater there and the number 41 of Matt Collier. A good move there from Sam Slater down the inside and going for the lead now. Mike Coppin in turn number 4. Wasn't fully happy with that. Let Steph Theodorou go back through, and here comes Rob Langthorpe around the outside, trying to retake 2nd position. But Mike's wise to that one. Now he let him back through there, it would seem, and yeah, just a contact warning for Mike Coppin. Didn't want to get a penalty or an ABC, anything of that description. That was wise stuff from Mike Coppin, just to let Steph Theodorou retake the lead. Yeah,
you can tell the experience there, knew that the move wasn't clean, but if he let him back through, he would have just got the slap on the wrist there of the warning, which you'll see as he comes round onto the start-finish line. But Steph Theodorou defending the inside line. Mike Coppin have to go the long way round in towards turn 1. Might try a switch back now and have the momentum in towards turn 2. He'll have the inside line. The space is there, and Mike Coppin takes that position away then, moves now into the lead of the race. Nice move from Mike Coppin to take the lead.
Yeah, and he points to say, let's go, let's get up the road, because the field is very closely bunched behind. Sam Slater there in 4th place, having a strong run. Garrett Berry up to 5th place as well on that last lap. Daz Teal coming into the mix. Kart number 6 in 6th position. Oh, Steph Theodorou has a little nibble there, trying to get past through Mike Coppin. There's a shake of the head from the number 3. Not too pleased about that. 3.5 minutes to go. End of lap number 4. We're past halfway in this one. It's still very much all up for grabs here, Kieran.
It is. Very nice and close racing between all of them as they make their way up towards turn 2. Mike Coppin just gives a little look over his shoulder just to see what's going on behind. Meanwhile, the number 60 then of Garrett Barry drives up the inside. There's contact between them coming through turn 4. The 51 of Sam Slater was not giving up on that one very easily. They're still battling away, and that's the number 6 there of Darren Teal. Not happy about that one. They'll have to race on for now.
Yeah, they will do. There's a penalty for Simon Sharp out there, who's currently in 15th place. It's a bump and pass, so that will relegate him to 17th, and that's a penalty for Daz Teal. So we saw a contact warning on the first lap, or first couple of laps, and now it's turned into a full contact penalty for a former round winner of this championship. And I don't think Daz will be too pleased about that as he comes over start-finish. Mike Coppin still leads, but only by 1/4 of a second or there or thereabouts over Steph Theodorou, who's just set a personal best, a 54.834.
There goes Teal. There's Teal up the inside once again. side by side with Slater, almost a carbon copy of the last lap as they made their way through.
Yeah, fighting hard here is Slater. 2 minutes to go. 2 more laps, including the one that they are on at the moment. And this lap, it just feels like Mike Coppin is starting to break the spirit of Steph Theodorio in this race in particular. Has got a good gap now, and Theodorio is well into the clutches of Rob Langthorpe.
At the moment, yes, and able to try and apply the pressure. Coppin's just set the fast lap of the race, which is then taken away by Garrett Berry in 4th place, 54.549. And you see there, 85 of Steph Theodoro looking over both shoulders just to check and see where Rob Langthorpe is. Ross O'Brien getting a contact warning. Here comes Rob Langthorpe up the inside, going in towards turn 5 then. He is on the inside. Does he give that position up? Yes, he does, but that allows Berry to try and make his move up the inside, going in towards turn 6. Through turn 7 they'll go. Short run up towards turn 8 then. Rob Langthorpe gets himself a contact warning, still running side by side. Berry and Langthorpe then heading their way through, and Berry's up a position now.
How about Garrett Berry? Great stuff getting involved there. Takes another position. There is a contact warning for Ross O'Brien. C3 update. Luke Dunnett's currently the top runner in the C3 novice category. He's in 12th place overall. He's got 8/10 over Ross O'Brien, 2nd place of the C3. He's on to the last lap then. Mike Coppin just needs to calmly stroke this one round and is going to take another victory in Club 100 machinery. He starts his afternoon off to the perfect start. Berry trying to find a way past Theodoro, who's defended very, very well in this race through the tight and twisty sequence of 5, 6 and 7. Berry has a look down the inside into 8, but as we've been mentioning with the heavyweights, there is a grippier line on the inside of turn number 8, so it's a natural defensive and best racing line for anyone leading a battle out front. But Mike Coppin is going to take victory here. Very, very nicely done. He likes that a lot indeed. Takes heat number 3. Steph Theodoro holds on to 2nd place ahead of Garrett Berry. Rob Langthorpe and Daz Teal wrap out the top 5 on the road at least. Sam Slater, Oscar Lancaster, Adrian Mertens. Good drive there from Mertens, up a few positions. Joshua Sangster and Matt Collier is top 10, Keith Segal 11th. C3s look like this. Luke Dunnett ahead of Finn Farrow, Simon Sharp, Ross O'Brien, Peter Sharp and Cameron Williams. We're going to swiftly move on once more because Heat 4 is heading out now. Let's have a look at the grid then for heat number 4, the last heat of the first rotation for our lightweights. Reese Pope on pole position, Ned Douglas alongside on the front row. Ashley White and Adam Harding are on row 2. Alistair Irvin and Owen Genman on row number 3. Peter Knight and Joshua Halloran are on row 4. James Williams and Matthew Cochran wrap out the top 10. Ramanas Sakauskas, another one of our C3 promotees from last season, is on row 6 alongside Bryn Albon. And then moving on to the C3 order, Justin Draper and Russell Cooper there on row 7, Jagjit Singh and Andrew Bushell on row 8.
So it's the last of the heats that has a practice at the beginning, so it's all fast-paced from these heats onwards. And so it really is the quick turnaround times, getting the drivers into the car and having to get into that mindset very quickly now.
Yeah.
These races are coming at these drivers thick and fast.
Hello to Rogerio Mendez, Racing Rogerio on YouTube. He's got a contact in the YouTube chat. Very slidey on the old tarmac. Great fun though, love this track. That is very much a Bayford thing. I'd say I got reaccustomed with it yesterday. And those differing racing lines, you kind of have to go on search for where that good rubber laid down is.
It makes it a challenge, doesn't it? Because I thought that was just me on the old tarmac there. I thought I was just carrying a bit too much speed, but it does take some getting used to. Once you've got up to speed with it, you really start to have fun with it.
Yeah, do indeed. So a couple more laps for the drivers to get their practices in. Keep your comments coming in, and hello to our viewers on Facebook as well. On the Club 100 Facebook page, the DDMM Facebook page. If you're enjoying the commentary, do give us a like over there. It really does help us out. And on Karting Magazine as well. And as the main man is stood over my shoulder, I best mention Club 100 Cadet on the website, www.club100.co.uk. News coming in the future, next few weeks. So if you've got a young driver, a driver too young for the Young Drivers' Championship, there's going to be some news there that you're definitely going to be interested in. And entries for Llandau as well. There is space available for next weekend. Our trip down to South Wales, absolutely fantastic circuit, even when it's wet, which being South Wales, it happens a lot. It's another circuit you have to be careful with which bits of tarmac you use, old tarmac, new tarmac changes as you go around in the wet conditions.
Yeah, it's not one I've been to personally, but I've heard all around the paddock here today. It's a great track apparently, so definitely one for the bucket list, I think.
The first track I ever drove a Club 100 kart on.
Really?
ABkC tests.
The first one I drove.
Dear, 7 years ago.
The first Club 100 kart I drove was around Club 100. I don't think John standing by me will remember it, but I'm pretty sure I spun into turn 1.
That's all right. I span out of the pit lane under a yellow flag.
Ah, that's even worse.
On my first run.
I did go backwards if it makes any difference, but it was a couple of years ago now.
Grid forming up then for heat number 4, the last of this first rotation. All of these drivers have not raced yet. Away we go then. Green lights on, 7 minutes underway. Reece Pope trying to hold that inside line, and once again it's the pole side of the grid that gets a very good start. Alistair Irvine in the pink lid there trying to force his way through. One of the leading C2s this season. And Ashley White's had a good start by the looks of things as well, the number 18. As into the tyres there is the number 19 of Ned Douglas. And Ned Douglas is not happy about that at all. Started towards the front of the grid, was on the front row of the grid, but is out of this one, barely 30 seconds into it. Penalty for Matthew Cochran, bump and pass. So that'll be 4 places for the driver of the number 30. And it just looked there, Kieran, as if drivers just trying to share the space there, 3-4 wide through turn number 3 doesn't really work.
Yeah, it's always a bit hectic. I mean, it is a sprint race and you've got to make up positions quickly, but get through the first lap and see how everything goes. That's got to be the priority. Reece Pope, though, leading the way from Ashley White, and it's Alistair Irvine rounding off our top 3. Adam Harding, who was on the outside for a lot of the first lap, actually, finds his way through. Is there a problem for the 42? Yes, there is. For
very
Reece.
slow. And what has happened here, Reece Pope has slowed. So there's Marshall on the outside just keeping everyone slow, but I think that was a little bit too slow perhaps from Reece Pope, because it meant that everyone bulked behind. That was very fortunate not to have a bigger incident there. The race continues. It was for the recovery of Ned Douglas.
Yes, I think you're right there. Reece Pope slowed down majorly for it, and it was just the other drivers having to react to it as well. There's the 38 trying to go up the inside. Then that's Owen Genman trying to force his way through, which he has. He's up a couple of positions there. Very nicely done.
Absolutely. Well, let's track them through, because there has been a change for the lead. I think Alistair Irvine got caught up in that as well. Number 19, well, that's Ned Douglas, who's a lap down in effect. So Ashley White is your new leader. Ned Douglas pulls over to one side. Yellow flag out, stationary yellow flag into turn number 3, and Alistair Irvine just realised then that it was nearly an overtake under yellow there, so just hopped back, made sure he didn't take the position. So there's a bit of confusion from the drivers through that turn, which hope they'll get on top of, because that has been a situation that's been there since lap 1, so they should be aware of it.
And Alistair Irvine there in the 36 gets a contact warning. There goes a move up the inside. Pope getting the lead back, but Ashley White's going to try and hang it around the outside through turn number 9. But there we go then. Reece Pope takes back the lead of this race then as we make our way through turn 11. Backwards we go towards turn 12 and onto the start-finish straight. Well, it's been an eventful 3 laps so far. What's the rest of the race got in order then? Reece Pope leading the way. There's the 102 of Peter Knight trying to move up the inside then in towards the first turn and leaves Ashley White out to dry there. In towards turn 2 we go. Nice move from Peter Knight. He's up a position now and now into second place.
Yeah, Peter Knight, who we first saw in sprints action pretty much 12 months ago here at Bayford Meadows. Was a C3 back then, made a big impression. Has immediately moved up to C2, showing those skills that he's honed through the Young Drivers' Championship once again. Owen Genman, who was absolutely rapid yesterday in the morning endurance race, down the inside of Alistair Irvine, gets past the former ABkC driver. Was part of the duo that won the endurance race yesterday, was Owen. And doing very, very nicely indeed. That's 4th place for Genman. Reece Pope still leads then. Peter Knight there in 2nd place. Ashley White holding in 3rd. Genman 4th. Irvine 5th. Adam Harding's having a nice race. Is into 6th place, and there goes the kind of move that we saw yesterday in the endurance race from Owen Genman. That's 3rd place.
Yeah, up onto those podium places then, at least in this heat. Plenty of points for that one, that's for sure. But will the charge carry on now, because he's got to try and keep Ashley White behind him now through these next couple of turns, and then try and focus his attention on the top 2. Speaking of the top 2, they're making their way through in towards turn number 8. Reece Pope leading the way ahead of Peter Knight as they head through turn 9, through turn 10, and then through towards this right-hander of turn 11. There's a lot of right-handers here, isn't there? Through now in towards turn 12. Peter Knight here maybe trying to set up a move down in towards turn 1. I don't think he's close enough this time around, so Reece Pope holds on through turn 1 we go. Just over 2 minutes left of this heat, with the Genman now fastest lap of the race, 44.498. Peter Knight here maybe looking for a move, not this time, but he's right on the back of Reece Pope.
Track limit warning for Alistair Irvine, which will be his 2nd one, so he's on his last chance. That's another one, and up the inside. See, that was classic Owen Genman for what he did for Might and Total Sport yesterday, making moves so good you don't even see them happening.
That's it, under the radar.
Yeah,
that's what one of those moves are.
So efficient in his work yesterday. And now, with 2 minutes to go, one more lap after this one. This will be at the end of lap number 6 this time round. Can Owen Genman take a victory here? It would be from 6th place on the grid. This is his middle of the grid start, as opposed to the one where he'll start from the back, and another one will start from the front later on. And down the inside he's looking again. He's done that brilliantly, side by side off of turn 4. And Reece Pope just about holds on there.
That's a warning sign, though. Ashley White now getting a penalty. Oh no, that's for track limits.
Yep.
But yeah, Reece Pope has got to be careful, because if he leaves even the door slightly open, we've seen Owen Genman will try and get that move done. In towards turn 8 we go, rounding through that long left-hander, through then towards turn 9, right on the back then through turn 10. And Genman here really sizing up, or at least attempting to size up this move for the lead of the race against Reece Pope as they make their way through in towards the final corner, back onto the start-finish straight. He might get a good run here down towards turn 1 as Reece Pope knows he's there, flicks to the inside. Owen Genman trying to do a little bit of a cutback here, didn't quite work, and he's lost a bit of momentum up towards turn 2. So Reece Pope is going to try and hang on. Genman thinking about a move up the inside, no way through. Reece Pope hangs on.
Shades of Silverstone 1986 there from Owen Genman, trying to sell the Mansell dummy on Reece Pope, but Reece Pope was wise to it, held a good outside line and speed through turn 1. They're on the last lap. They've been shown the board as Genman goes down the inside. What a move from Owen Genman through turn 7. And if it wins him this race, that's one of the best moves we've seen here this weekend. Peter Knight still there in 3rd place in the Dayglow yellow suit. But Genman is streaking away now, and it doesn't seem like anything anyone can do. Could this be a move to win this round of this championship? Owen Genman is going to start the afternoon with a heat win in Heat 4. Reece Pope in 2nd, Peter Knight 3rd, Ashley White 4th, Alistair Irvine in there in 5th place, Adam Harding, Ramanas Sakauskas, Matthew Cockram, Russell Cooper and Bryn Albon are your top 10. Let's have another look at that move from Owen Genman. Just placed it down the inside. Judged the speed perfectly there, Kieran. Didn't run on too long and you know, push Reece Pope wide. Reece tried to hold around the outside, which it's kind of inevitable he's going to lose out in that situation. But that was fantastic from Owen Gentleman.
It was, but I wonder, Gentleman there did go outside of track limits, not to be a party pooper there. He did go slightly outside track limits there. That's what Reese Boat would have been shaking his head at, but we'll leave that to the stewards. By the by, that was a great move.
It was indeed. We're going to move on to heat number 5. Let's look at the grid for heat number 5 here at Bayford Meadows. Dan Seeger has pole position. Darren Teal alongside on the front row. Rogerio Mendes being cheered on from at home by Grace Hawkes. Starts on row 2. Garrett Berry also on row 2. Andrew Rabbage and Fraser Brunton on row number 3. Aidan Rudge and Stephen Westwood on row 4. Jason Bradbury and Ed Bars row 5. James Wattis and Sam Slater on row number 6. Simon Sharp and James Dunnett then line up on row 7. Sean Glenn and Peter Sharp on row 8. Ross O'Brien on row 9. If you're enjoying the commentary, at @MM on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Plenty of stuff going on in the next few weeks, including one of our official, unofficial esports championships, Club 100 drivers who got together during the lockdown periods of last year. We've got season 5, week 2 of the Gran Turismo Sports Series organised by Sam Dimolo, who's out there on the course today doing some observing. So that will be Tuesday at 9 PM over on the DDMM channel, and some of the drivers that you're seeing out here this afternoon will be competing in that. So Dan Seeger, there he is, number 28, with the dark blue and white helmet, just ahead of Rogerio Mendes, who's asked for a shout out for Grace Hawkes. I think I've done that twice. But there we go, 2 for the price of 1. Fraser Brunton in there as well, driver number 71. Saw a very good run from Fraser in the first race. Daz Teal will be looking to bounce back from the disappointment of getting a penalty in his first race. Very good looking grid in terms of talent, this one, Kieran.
Definitely, and it's going to be a bit of, well, we saw last time out there was a good bit of action. Let's see what this heat brings, as there's, well, I don't know how much that's going to affect the tyres. Psychologically, it might give you the upper hand, that's for sure, but any heat's better than no heat at all, as they now make their way on towards the start of this race.
Looks like we're all good to go then. 7 minutes on the clock for heat number 5 here at Bayford Meadows for the lightweights. Pace cart will pull off to driver's right, and away we go then. Dan Seeger takes us from pole position. Can Daz Teal hold on to second place? Rogerio Mendes is looking for that second place. A good line from Teal there, but Mendes is going to have the position as they go into turn number 3, I imagine. And no, Teal holds around the outside into 3. Don't see that many times. But the experienced Daz Teal comes to the fore, all of them sorting themselves out. There's nearly half spin towards the back. I think that may have been James Dunnett in trouble for a short while there, but good start for Dan Seeger. He's out front.
Yeah, and trying to build the gap immediately from Darren Teal, as the number 60 there of Garrett Berry in 3rd place at the moment. And lots of drivers trying to go side by side all the way through, trying to make some positions early on. We're going side by side for a battle, I believe. This is for 4th place as we make our way through in towards the last couple of corners in through turn 11. Onwards we will go through turn 12 and on to the start-finish straight. So Seeger leads them from Teal and Berry in 3rd place. And it's Edward Bards in 4th, Fraser Brunton in 5th place then. And there is Fraser Brunton having a move up the inside. He had a lovely turn 1 there and sizes him up for the move through turn 2, gets the move done.
Dan Seeger, if he checks over his shoulder, I don't think will quite believe what he sees. A 1.35 second lead at the end of lap 1 is astronomical in this series. He's just got to keep, well, I'd say, have one check over the shoulder, see, my goodness, that's quite a lead, and then just keep eyes forward for the rest of the race, because this is a great opportunity to take a victory. Fighting there for second place, Garrett Berry, saw some good moves from him earlier in the first rotation of heats, and he's doing it again here in the second.
Yeah, and the more that Teal and Berry battle away, the more it's going to allow Dan Seeger to just simply streak away at the head of the field and keep on building that gap as he makes his way now down towards turn 1. Fraser Brunton looking for a move down in towards turn 1 for third place, takes that away then from Teal, and so Fraser Brunton now into the top 3. Through turn 2 we go.
Daz Teal not happy about things, and I think has he got a problem, because it's all come to a stop for Daz Teal. He's pulled off the circuit and nosed into the tyres. He's not happy at all. JB's going over to have a discussion with him, but that is Daz Teal out of the race, and with the not so good result in the first race, that is not good for Daz Teal trying to get into the A final.
No, he will have it all to do, his work cut out as well in his third and final heat. And if that doesn't work, he'll have to go through the routes of winning or at least placing high in the finals all the way through. So it's not going to be an easy task for him whatsoever.
4 minutes 40 to go. Dan Seeger leads, but is being closed in by Garrett Berry and by Fraser Brunton, who is now the fastest driver out on circuit. 54.424 for Brunton. Surely if you're Brunton in this situation, you try and work with Berry at this stage of the race.
Well, that depends. If he's on pace with you or just a tenth or two off a lap, then maybe you work together. But if Fraser Brunton feels he's losing more time than he's gaining, then he'll have to try and get a move done and do it himself. But at the moment, he's in third place behind Garrett Berry as they make their way through in towards turn 8. But the good news for Fraser Brunton is he can still see the leader, and they are starting to close on him once again. They took out 0.3 of a second out of his lead on that last lap alone, and there you can see they are really starting to close in quickly.
Dan Seeger has not had a win so far this season. His best result was a second place in one of the heats at round number 2. He's had a few thirds along the way as well, including last time out at Ella Park in one of the heats there. Has not seen P1 as Fraser Brunton looking down the inside of Berry. Can't make the move stick, and Ed Bars is on the prowl now, closing in.
Yeah, you don't want to be making too many mistakes like that, as Jason Bradbury gets a penalty for track limits. Currently 10th place, but he'll be finishing lower down the order than that, at least with that penalty. But there's Seeger leading the way from Berry, and then it's Brunton in third place as they make their way through in towards turn 8 before they size up turn number 9. And Fraser Brunton knows he can try and size up this move, but on that last lap there, Garrett Berry had an answer for him.
He did indeed. Let's see what that gap is looking like. We've seen some 8-lap heats so far here in the lightweight, so we've just gone past halfway, end of lap number 5. Big laps just gone in there from Dan Seeger. 54.722, his fastest of the race so far, and it's edged the gap out of just a little bit. It's 0.8 of a second now.
He needed that, he really needed that, and now he can try and press on, but Fraser Brunton right behind Garrett Berry. If they start battling once again, that will go into Dan Seeger's favour once again. So this is the ideal scenario for Dan Seeger, is that Fraser Brunton cannot find a way past Garrett Berry at the moment. But we've still got less than 2 minutes on the clock, and as we've seen in these sprint races, a lot can happen in 2 minutes.
Can indeed. I do believe Daz Teal is rolling again, but is obviously a lap down now, or best part of a lap down. C3 update, Peter Sharp, currently your top running C3 in 12th place overall. End of lap number 6. Oh, big laps going in from Berry and Brunton. They've responded. 54.5 for Berry, 54.3 for Brunton. And the gap is down to just over half a second. 2 more laps, and they're going to be right on Dan Seeger's rear axle as Brunton's trying to go down the inside now for second place. You get the feeling he has to make this move if he wants to win this race, and he's done it. He has done it. Big send into turn 4, and this time he makes it stick.
Yeah, he's not got long, though, to try and close down on Dan Seeger and to pass him. Through turn 8 he will go, with Berry right behind him as well as Edward Bards. He's just got himself a track limit warning in that number 1 kart. But in towards the final couple of corners we will go. Now Brunton really got it all to do. He's got 1 lap really to try and catch and pass Dan Seeger. On towards the start-finish line we will go. There it is, last lap board is out, and Dan Seeger sets his personal best of the race, but it's still slower than Brunton's last lap, and he had to pass Garrett Berry on that previous lap.
Yeah, you've got to feel for Brunton that he's got to set this up for a move into turn 11. He'll try and pull back in this gap. He's doing a good job of it so far through the infield section. Dan Seeger will really want to take this victory. He's not had one so far this season. Has had a few seconds and thirds. Fraser Brunton really coming into this championship now. He's used up all of his drop scores as he's been taking exams and doing schoolwork. One of the youngest drivers that we have here in Club 100. Watch out for him later in the season. The opportunity is not going to be there. So Dan Seeger is going to come out the final corner and take a victory for the first time this season in the Lightweight Sprints Championship. Fraser Brunton sets a 54.134 on the last lap. Look out for that speed later on. Finishes second place. Garrett Berry as well there, third. Ed Bars in fourth. Rogerio Mendes fifth. Andrew Rabbage, Aidan Rudge, Sam Slater, Stephen Westwood and Jason Bradbury's your top 10. James Wattis was 11th. A C3 order looks like this. Peter Sharp ahead of Sean Glenn and James Dunnett, Simon Chop and Ross O'Brien. And then a retirement, Daz Teal there in 17th. Let's move on to heat number 6. Let's have a look at the grid then for heat number 6 as we do the rolling up lap. Cameron Williams and Josh Halloran on the front row. Adrian Mertens and James Williams, row 2. Steve Hicks and Matt Collier on row number 3. Jack O'Neill and Rob Langthorpe go from row 4. Peter Knight and Keith Segal on row 5. Archie Hobson and Andrew Bushell start on row 6. Jagjit Singh and Robin Kassam on row 7. James Browning and Tim Clark complete the 16 karts in this field. So under starters orders then. 7 minutes on the clock. Once more for our lightweights. All of these drivers having their second run of the day. Away they go. Cameron Williams, number 54, takes us into turn 1. Adrian Mertens is having a look from third place on the grid. And not for the first time today, P3 is going to lead from the grid into turn number 3.
It's been a really popular place to start. Obviously, random grids through here, but it's been a really good place to start your race as Cameron Williams had a good start. But Adrian Mertens is the one that leads the way. The number 21 trying to get his way up the inside. Stephen Hicks, who's trying to get his way through the order there. And we're going 3-4 wide on the exit of turn 7 there. Through turn 8 we will go. The top 4 have tried to streak away from the rest of the field as they're now going 2-3 wide, going in towards turn 9 now, trying to sort themselves out as they now find their way through in towards turn 10.
Peter Knight on the grass.
It is Peter Knight on the grass. He's also got himself a contact warning for good measure as they now make their way up towards turn 12. We've got someone onto the grass there and getting airborne almost and managing to keep it out of the tyres, slowing that car down. Who would have that been? I think it would have been James Williams. Yes, it was. As we rejoin the leaders now, Adrian Mertens from Jack O'Neill in second place. Then it's Joshua Halloran in third, Cameron Williams fourth, Stephen Hicks fifth.
Bump and pass penalty for Rob Langthorpe, the number 12. So is in the midst of that midfield battle. Lots of drivers going up and down the order. So James Williams dropped 12 spots on that first lap. Matt Collier down 6. Peter Knight and Keith Segal down 3. Jagjit Singh, Tim Clark and Andrew Bushell. It's all about the Class 3s. The Class 3s know how to race in this particular heat because 3 of them have jumped an average of more than 5 positions. Brilliant stuff from our novices. Meanwhile, at the front, Adrian Mertens leading at the end of lap number 2. But Jack O'Neill, here he comes, checks over the shoulder, does Mertens. There is Jack O'Neill down the inside and takes the lead.
Yeah, nice move there. And Jack O'Neill says, let's get on with this, Adrian, as he now makes his way in towards turn 3. Joshua Halloran in third place there. Then it's Stephen Hicks in fourth. Archie Hobson rounding off the... Oh, sorry, it's Cameron Williams in fourth. Stephen Hicks rounding off the top 5. But that's a good move from Jack O'Neill. It's what we expect from him, really. And with 5 minutes to go, he can now try and focus on getting another win in another heat.
Absolutely. Steve Hicks closing in on Williams. So wanting to move up the order, especially in the finals. So had good results through the heats. Got that bit of the schedule sorted, but definitely wants to improve the results, start getting more overall podiums when it comes to the finals. More on that later, but there's your lead change confirmed. Jack O'Neill, here comes Steve Hicks down the inside. of Cameron Williams to take 4th place. Very straightforward textbook overtake there from number 21, track limit warning for Keith Segal.
Yep, and that moves Stephen Hicks now up into 4th place, as we'll see the leaders coming through very shortly. There's the 33 of Archie Hobson feeling the need to defend from Rob Langthorpe then, who has got himself a penalty. So too has the 54 of Cameron Williams. That's for track limits. So currently 5th place in this race is Cameron Williams, but he's going to find himself a bit further down once the checkered flag comes out.
Absolutely. That's not so good news there. 54.750 for Jack O'Neill last time around. Here's Rob Langthorpe, as we say, has penalties. It's just tucked up under the rear bumper of Peter Knight. So there's been a change there for 7th place. Knight past Langthorpe. Archie Hobson, see there, number 33, having a better run this time in his 2nd appearance of the afternoon. 6th place. Having said that, he's just got a track limit warning. Well done, Archie.
There's only a warning for now, though, so he'll press on, and with less than 3 minutes to go, we'll see. Well, obviously, we know Rob Langthorpe has himself that penalty that'll be applied to the end of the race, so he's now going to try and get as many moves as possible to move him up the order and try and negate the effects of that penalty once it is applied, as they now make their way through in towards that long left-hander at turn 8. Jack O'Neill now with a 1 second lead when they crossed the line last time around. 54.7 is his best lap of the race and the best lap of the race so far.
It is a very good pace from Jack O'Neill. I'll just be looking to hold something in reserve as well. As here goes Archie Hobson down the inside of Cameron Williams. Takes 5th place. Good move there from another one of our BUKC graduates. See the Warwick University, the Warwick Sport label there on his visor. There's Peter Knight. Can he find a way past Cameron Williams? Fastest driver at the moment is Peter Knight, and oh dear, Archie, track limits, and that's a penalty for Archie Hobson. 2 places at the end of the race, so he's just undone all the good work he's done getting past Cameron Williams.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to take, but he's got to press on now. It is just the heats, you know. Yeah, there'll be a couple of points dropped, but in the grand scheme of things, keep pushing on, because this will mean, and it will be a difference to your track position. There's Peter Knight looking for a move up the inside and takes that position away from Williams there. And so too does Rob Langthorpe. He fancies his chances up the inside, which he does take. And just in the blink of an eye there, Cameron Williams was in 6th place. He's now down to 8th.
I've just noted that it's Carson counting track limits on turn 1. He ain't going to miss anything,
no,
Carson.
He's not.
So it's not a surprise that Archie's got pinged for that one. 50 seconds of this race to go, or at least that's what's on the clock. 2 seconds is the lead for Jack O'Neill. And Adrian Mertens has driven a really nice race here. He's taken this opportunity of starting on the 2nd row. 2nd place for him at the moment, and a good gap, crucially, as they go onto the final lap. Can bring this one home.
Could indeed, and on that last lap sets the fast lap of the race so far, 54.384, and ever extends his lead to Adrian Mertens. Then Josh Halloran rounding off the top 3 in this heat. Stephen Hicks is in 4th place, and then it's Archie Hobson in 5th on track at the moment, but that will be dealt with once we have crossed the start-finish line for the final time then, and soon we'll see Jack O'Neill making his way through the final couple of corners.
I thought it was. This is due to be Adrian Mertens' best result in sprints this season. He's had a couple of thirds, including one last time out at Ella Park, but this is going to be a first P2 of the season. It's not going to be a first P1 of the season for this driver. Jack O'Neill comes around the final corner to take yet another victory and another maximum point score here in heat number 6. Adrian Mertens, brilliant there in 2nd place. Joshua Halloran in 3rd. Steve Hicks 4th, Archie Hobson 5th, that has penalties. Peter Knight 6th, Rob Langthorpe 7th, also has penalties. Cameron Wilson, Andrew Bushell, and Jagjeet Singh's your top 10. We're going to have to cut straight away to race number 7. I'm going to roll straight into heat number 7. Ramona Sakauskas on the front row alongside one of our ABkC champions, Dante Dillon. What can the Team Sport star do here in this one? 7 minutes on the clock, away we go. First thing to do is to get alongside and into second place. In fact, once again, the number 30 of Matthew Cockrem starting P3 is going to have the advantage over the anti-pole side of the grid and take Dante's position into the hairpin to go for the first time. Greg Smith in the middle of all of this. Owen Jenman's out in this one as well. Plenty of big names trying to drive from the back of the field. Dan Cohen can see in amongst it just ahead of the C3s. Rihanna Percox trying to go down the inside of Reese Pope there. Coming onto the back straight. Good start from Ramona Sakauskas. Young driver, moved up from Class 3 last season. He's had a good amount of seat time here in 2021. Contact warning for Joshua Sangster.
You see here, though, Matthew Cockrem is not making life easy for Sakauskas then as they make their way towards the start-finish line. Cockrem's going to have to go the long way around if he wants that move. Meanwhile, Dante Dillon is having to defend from Adam Harding then as the two leaders then make their way up towards turn 2. Sakauskas defends the inside line. Meanwhile, there's Adam Harding up the inside. He takes away third place then from Dante Dillon as they head their way through in towards turn 5. And Sakauskas still holding on to this lead. But there is Adam Harding, who fancies his way in this battle right now. There's the 50 of Dante Dillon trying to make his way back through, but there comes Rihanna Percox trying to take advantage of this battling then as they make their way through turn 8. She's up the inside now. But there is also Reese Pope trying to find his way through. It's all position changes for that 4th, 5th, 6th place.
And a lot of young talent in this group as well. As you mentioned, Adam Harding races in the Junior Saloon Car Championship, the JSCC. Great to have him. Oh, big hit on the tyres there. That was Matthew Cockrem in P2 now. I wonder, will that be a penalty as Rihanna Percox is down the inside going for P3. Wide out there is Adam Harding in the 95. And yet, there we go. Cone penalty for Matthew Cockrem. Hitting those tyres on the exit of the last corner. This is all good, though, for Ramona Sakauskas because he's just able to get a bit of a gap here and grow his lead. It was just less than 3/10. It's looking a bit more than that now.
Yeah, it just seemed like a lack of concentration from Cockrem there, and it's going to cost him that cone penalty. So that's going to be added to the end of his race, of course. We're going side by side with Greg Smith there. And up the inside, is that Jenman? It is Jenman who tries to muscle his way through, and muscle his way he does. We know he loves those kind of moves and moves himself now up a position.
Yellow flags out for the replacement of the tyres on the pit straight. So there'll be someone off to driver's right doing that. Rihanna Percox, I was just about to say, up to P3, but has a penalty. Bump and pass. So that will not finish that way, even if Rihanna wins the race. Down the inside, Reese Pope on Adam Harding. That's a good move for 4th place. So by that, I mean, even if Percox finishes first on the road, that's +4 positions, whatever happens. There's been a contact warning as well out there for Josh Adams. You can see a lot of the drivers defending, taking is it known as the Joe Holmes line now after what we saw in heavyweights earlier.
They were clearly watching this morning's action, and in the A final in particular, because they picked up some pointers from Joe Holmes himself. Meanwhile then, Harding having to defend from Reese Pope behind as they make their way through the final corner. And Sakauskas leading the way from Cockrem, who has that cone penalty. Rihanna Percox in 3rd place has that penalty applied to her race at the end. Here comes Reese Pope then, who wants that move for 3rd place up towards turns 2 and 3. No way through, though, at least on track at the moment. And Rihanna Percox knows that she has to defend this position because now she's trying to make the best out of a bad situation with that penalty over her name.
Going back through the records, Ramona Sakauskas is another driver yet to take a race victory so far this season. Could we see another driver, in fact Matthew Cockrem trying to get through now, and Ramona Sakauskas defends, maybe not aware that Cockrem has a penalty. Could even give this position up on the road and would still be taking the full 20 points. Gliding through the final complex there, Rihanna Percox. Reese Pope having it. This is a good race, I've got to say, for the Class 2s. There's a good number of Class 1s in this race as Cochrane down the inside of Tchaikovskas going for the lead and has got it, but remember, has that cone penalty.
Yes, but now he's taken the lead, so that's going to lessen the blow. Yes, he'll have the heat win taken away, but he'll go further, or at least less far down the order than he would have before. So that's an important move. Another penalty going out as well for contact. That's to the number 9 of Josh Adams, who's currently on our timing screens in 9th place. So a couple of penalties being handed out in this one.
Yep. Race control wanting to calm things down out there. Rihanna Percox closing in. Reese Pope is doing this very, very wisely for such a young driver. We'll probably know that Percox is the number 5 and has a penalty, but he's also quick. So just sit on her rear axle to try and pull himself further up the order, namely past Raunas Tchaikovskas.
Yeah, but sometimes as a driver, you want that move out on track. And there goes Percox up the inside, going in towards turn number 5 there. And that's allowed Reese Pope to just find his way through. And as you were rightly saying, just put the pressure on. And he's bought himself 2 positions there.
And effectively now, the race lead, because Cochrane's penalty for hitting those tyres early on in the race means Reese Pope is now on for a full quota of points here. And also a driver who has not taken a race victory. So has had a good number of seconds, a few thirds as well. But Reese Pope, with that wise bit of driving, I really did like that, could be on here on the last lap for a race win.
Yeah, that's an important move there. Reese Pope there is trying to chase down for what would be on track the race lead, but if he holds station, it will be the lead after the checkered flag as they make their way now down in towards turn 5. Then it's Tchaikovskas in 3rd place on track, Rihanna Percox in 4th, and then it's Owen Genman who could really be a beneficiary in that late penalty shuffle.
I think he could be, yeah. I think he could be on for at least 3rd place here, perhaps. Into the final couple of corners, Matthew Cochrane trying to hold on to the lead on the road. It is worth a position, of course, because if he finishes 2nd, the penalty still applies. But round the final couple of corners, into the complex for the last time. Matthew Cochrane will take it on the road, but has a cone penalty. So Reese Pope doesn't quite realise, but he has got his first win of the year. Raunas Tchaikovskas in 3rd. Rihanna Percox, Owen Genman and Josh Adams, the 3C1s, 4th, 5th, 6th. Adam Harding, Greg Smith, Samuel Esri and Joshua Sangster is your top 10. Dante Dillon, Chris Woodger, Finn Farrow, Daniel Cohen, Luke Dunnett, Alex Brandon and Sam Morris take us down to 17th. We're going to move on to race number 8. Let's go through the grid then for this 8th heat and end of rotation number 2. Ben Lambeth has pole position, Bailey Morgan alongside on the front row. Jed Toole and James Martin on row 2, Oscar Lancaster and Ashley White are on row number 3. Steph Theodorou and Ned Douglas start on the 4th row of the grid, Dan Healy and Alistair Irvin on row 5. Mike Coppin and Pietro Pagano, lots of experience there on row 6. Amy Breacher and Dean Everest, on row 7. Bryn Albin and Justin Draper on row 8. Russell Cooper on row 9. To the front of this one, Ben Lambeth there in the black suit and the white helmet. Bailey Morgan on the left-hand side of your screen. Blue helmet, blue and pink suit. Was very quick earlier. I think Mike Coppin was giving a gesture there saying I'm going for P1 in this race. 7 minutes on the clock. Away we go. Green lights for the drivers and the sprint down to turn 1. Who's going to take advantage here through this long right-hander? And Bailey Morgan's been forced out very, very wide there and he's going to lose a stack of positions. Already spreading out a bit at the front. Dan Healy takes a good chunk of curb in the number 2 kart there, and they're all just about through the first few bends.
Oh, well, the 19 there gets a bit of opposite lot. That's Ned Douglas there, who obviously didn't have a great first heat either. A couple of drivers onto the grass. So too is Mike Coppin as he tries to make his way through the order as quickly as he possibly can. But there is Ben Lambeth, who leads the way ahead of the 85 of Steph Theodorou. So a good start from Steph there. Bailey Morgan trying to recover. Is on the outside, going in towards the right-hander of turn 9. Meanwhile, going side by side here, you can see Bailey Morgan again on the outside going through turn 10. And he just cannot find his way back through the order. Of course, starting in second place, one driver onto the grass there. I believe that was the 36 of Alistair Irvin.
Yeah, recovered well from that. So it's Lambeth leading from Theodorou. Good start for Theodorou. Not long in these races to get everything sorted. And here comes, oh, there's a black flag for James Martin. So straight away, black flag there. That is not good indeed. Now, there's not been any contacts or warnings or track limits. I wonder, is that something procedural that's not gone right for James Martin there? We'll have to wait and see, but either way, James Martin is going to have to come into pit lane and sort out whatever has caught race control's attention.
Well, Ben Lambeth still leading the way from Steph Theodorou there, and it's Jed Toole in third place as they make their way through in towards turn 1 once again. Then it's Dan Healy in fourth place, Bailey Morgan fifth. A penalty for Ashley White there for a bump and pass. So that'll be added to the end of his race. Currently in sixth place in that number 18. Also a penalty there for Bryn Albin. Another bump and pass there for the number 16.
I just wonder, I'm just having a look, is there a chin strap undone, or is it something like that? Can't see anything for James Martin. I can't see what he possibly could have done in the space of a lap and a half that would warrant a black flag for behavioural reasons. We've got him on screen, so we'll just wait and see on that one. There is Dan Healy, and yeah, Pietro Pagano. I think it's Pietro Pagano's chin strap is undone, because I did note that on Pietro on the 69 as he came past on the same shot, and it may be a case of mistaken identity. They've both gone in. Pietro's, I'm pretty sure, 95% sure that's a chin strap undone on the helmet, which is obviously a safety concern. James Martin is going to go back round. I'm not quite sure what this is for, but away they go. And there's somebody else in the pit lane there as well. There's somebody accidentally come in for a BUKC style black flag when it's actually just a race penalty applied at the end. I think that may have been Bryn Albin. But Ben Lambeth, on his debut here, he's not for this season, has not competed so far this year. Has got a nil point on his scorecard. Is doing very nicely. There has been a change for the lead. Steph Theodorou to the front. This is still a very good run from Ben in that number 53.
Yes, isn't it just? And Ben Lambeth here might have a good run out of turn 1 up towards turn 2. He's up the inside, takes back the race lead, then ahead of Steph Theodorou. Then it's Jed Toole trying to put the pressure on in that 75. Also, you got Dan Healy looking ominously on. Bailey Morgan also fancies his chance. Remember, he started on the front row, found himself way off at turn 1 and had to rejoin all the way back into the midfield. So he's done well to recover back into 5th place. At the moment, though, it still is Ben Lambeth who leads the way ahead of Steph Theodorou.
It is indeed. Jed Toole doing a great job again. Another really good to see young driver coming through the ranks in this championship, and another driver on for a best result so far this season. No top 3s in any of the races so far for Jed, so let's hope for his sake we can hold on to this. Having said that, he's got Dan Healy behind him, last year's championship runner-up. Not a slow driver at all. C3 update. Justin Draper currently leading in C3 ahead of Dean Everest and Amy Breacher. So that's all over 11th place. And in fact, Justin's got a good lead in that bit of the order. 2.4 seconds over all the other C3s out there. Very good stuff from Justin.
Ben Lambeth still leading away. Jed Toole's trying to put the pressure on Steph Theodorou then in towards turn 9, but Theodorou's defences are up. Also trying to get his way through and pass for the back through for the lead of the race. Daniel Healy as well in 4th place. Bailey Morgan is giving him a hard time in towards turn 12. Back onto the start-finish straight we will go. Top 5 there, battling away for the lead as we enter the penultimate lap. Ben Lambeth still leading the way. Bailey Morgan, meanwhile, following him through. Does he get the run he wanted out of turn 1 to provide a challenge to Dan Healy? Not quite this time. Steph Theodoro, again, can't find his way through and past Ben Lambeth at the moment. Lambeth going defensive into 5. Might cost him because it's allowed Theodoro to try and get the switch back here. Not quite enough room there. Or maybe there is down the inside. No, not this time. Ben Lambeth managing to hold firm.
And hold firm well. No other position changes to inform you about at this stage of the race. It'll be the last lap board next time round, and Theodore is trying this way and that to get through. Contact warning for Oscar Lancaster, who is currently in 7th place in this race, just ahead of Mike Coppin. Bailey Morgan also has had a contact warning. Over start finish to go. On to the final lap then. Can Ben Lambeth hold on for this victory? 4 drivers want to take it off him. There's been some changes further back. Coppin and Irvin have got past Oscar Lancaster as down the inside goes Bailey Morgan, going for 4th place, but Healy's going to have the run off of turn 4. Really well done by Dan Healy to hold on to that place. As, oh, change, there it is. Through goes Theodoro, who's got past Ben Lambeth. And Tools got blocked as well and has lost 3rd to Healy. So all of a sudden, Dan Healy's up to 3rd place. And oh, nearly a bit of contact there between Theodoro and Lambeth. And here comes Healy again down the inside, takes 2nd place. The experience of Dan Healy picking them off one by one. Can he get one more into the final corner? Or can Steph Theodoro hold on? Yes, he can. Round the final corner. Steph Theodoro is going to win it on the road. Dan Healy in 2nd place. 3rd for Ben Lambeth. 4th, Jed Toole. 5th, Bailey Morgan. Ashley White, Mike Coppin, Alistair Irvin, Oscar Lancaster, Ned Douglas take us to P10. Justin Draper takes a dominant victory in C3 in 11th. Dean Everest, Bryn Albin, Amy Breacher and Russell Cooper 15th. And then the 2 drivers who were black flags in that race, Pietro Pagano and James Martin 16th and 17th. And that is the end of rotation number 2. We'll be back shortly with the start of rotation number 3 in Heat 9. All set to go then, by the looks of things, for heat number 9. We're going to go around for another formation lap, so let's have a look at the grid. Dan Cohen on pole position for this next race. Joshua Sangster alongside on the front row. James Wattis and Keith Segal on row 2. Garrett Berry has been very impressive today alongside Matthew Cockram on row 3. Cameron Williams and Dante Dillon start on row 4. Rob Langthorpe and Steve Hicks on row 5. Greg Smith and Jack O'Neill row 6. Ross O'Brien and Sam Morris row 7. James Dunnett and Andrew Bushell on row 8. Robin Kassam on row 9. So good opportunities this for some of our C2s to get some strong results, and in particular we're going to keep our eye in this race on Garrett Berry, who's put some great moves in so far today. 7 minutes on the clock, and away we go then. Dan Cohen leads from pole position. Goes for a slightly defensive line. James Watt is trying to take P2 straight away from the 2nd row of the grid. 4, nearly 5 wide coming off of turn 1, and Jack O'Neill was nearly in trouble there towards the back of the field. Some big C1s coming from the rear of the order in this one. That was a bit of a tense start there, Kieran.
It was indeed, but Jack O'Neill's trying to find his way through, and his contact warning going out for the 98 of Greg Smith as they all try and find their way through, find a bit of space for themselves out there. But Dan Cohen then getting a good start out of it. He still leads the way ahead of James Wattis. Again, 3rd place on the grid. Seems to be one of the best places to start on the grid entirely. Through turn 8, all the drivers go through turn 9. We'll go penalty there for Rob Langthorpe for loading. So that's going to be a penalty added to the end of his race currently. Well, he was a little way down the order. There he is, the number 12 there, heading up towards turn 12.
Yeah, not a good start for Rob there. No, he puts his head back, he knows that he's done wrong there. Contact warning. That's a repeat showing of the first contact warning for Greg Smith. But Dan Cohen, another driver who's come through the BUKC, enjoying his time at the front of the field here. Hasn't been an ever-present, but when he has been here so far this season, has had some fantastic scraps. There's a good scrap between Keith Segal in the 58 and Greg Smith, and Steve Hicks taking advantage of all of that, gaining at least one position. Saw Dante Dillon there, 7th place. BIKC champion, having a good run in this race. Fell backwards, unfortunately, in his first appearance of the day so far. He's coming to the fore now. James Wattis has a look there down the inside of Daniel Cohen. Track limit warning for Rob Langthorpe. Garrett Berry's trying to find his way through as well, and goes to remove into turn number 3. I didn't think that was going to work, Kieran. It's just a little bit too tight through there.
A little bit too ambitious there. We've seen lots of moves going up the inside where Harvard doors open, but not this time. He got caught up onto the curb there, lost a bit of momentum as well. Almost fell into the clutches of Joshua Sangster there, but luckily got away with that one.
Yeah, he did. He did indeed. There's the number 45 this time, going down the inside of, I think that's Dillon actually. Yeah, Dante Dillon is pulling his way through the field very nicely on this lap. Has got past Williams. Where has Williams gone? And Williams has fallen down a couple of positions. We just saw the Dayglow yellow helmet pass through shot. End of lap number 3 then. Dan Cohen leads by 0.8 of a second over James Wattis and Garrett Berry, who both got contact warnings. Fastest driver out on circuit is that driver there, driver number 50, Dante Dillon, 54.796. The driver here from his efforts in the British Indoor Karting Championship, and there's a great move.
That's a great move.
Into 4th place goes Dante Dillon, but back comes Sangster. Doesn't want to give that one up, and that's a great move as well. 2
great moves in the space of 2 corners. Fantastic battle between the two of them. They're going to run side by side all the way through in towards turn number 8. Dante Dillon up the inside once again. Once again, he gets ahead as they head through turn 9. And I'm not sure that battle's going to be far from over, but Dante Dillon now up into 4th place.
They have lost a bit of time though. They've dropped back from this top 3 now. So this is a big lap from Dante. He needs to put in a qualifying effort here to get away, or at least resist any attempt by Sangster of having another go and retaking 4th. Also on the move, Jack O'Neill is up to 6th place now, ahead of Rob Langthorpe. Matthew Cockram is also overtaken Ross O'Brien for 12th. Ross O'Brien, though, still leading in C3.
Yeah, track limit warning going out to James Wattis there, and again, Garrett Berry getting onto the curb, and it's losing him that momentum. He gets a good run out of turn 1 and then through turn 2 before he gets too up and close and personal with the curb at turn 3, and it just loses him all that momentum he had. So he's got to think carefully about where he has his next moves, because Dante Dillon is right on the back of him now, and that's the battle for 3rd.
Absolutely. 3 minutes ago, there's Greg Smith, number 98. He's got Steve Hicks just behind. Bit of an out of sorts race this from Steve Hicks down there in 10th place. He's not got long to get the overtakes done. Dante Dillon, fastest driver again. 54.416, and through goes Garrett Berry. I think James Wattis was looking a little bit frustrated in himself there, made a mistake through turn 1. Penalty for Greg Smith, bump and pass, as Cameron Williams has been dropped 2 places on that last lap, so I imagine that is where Greg Smith's penalty has come from.
It was Garrett Berry taking full advantage there. I think you're right. James Wattis there just didn't get the great run through turn 1. Meanwhile, Dante Dillon fancies his chances up the inside of Wattis now. He gets the move done. Bit of contact going through turn 8 as they head through turn 9 now. And onwards they go through turn 10. Dante Dillon now up into 3rd place though. His next target will be Garrett Berry right up ahead.
54.9 last time around for Cohen. He's now dropped into the 55s again. Dante Dillon's got a chance here, I feel. And here comes Jack O'Neill as well, up to 5th place. Can he make a late charge for yet another victory? And he's just taken that. He has taken P4 with, well, that was the move of a champion to say, this is mine, mate. Don't even try and take this back or fight it. And poor James Wattis is getting quite frustrated there. He's being overtaken left, right and centre. He's lost positions to Langthorpe and Greg Smith now. And here's the battle, change for the lead. Berry through, past Cohen. And here comes Dante Dillon as well. He's going to be on the outside though for the next couple of corners. He's going to be hung out to dry surely by Dan Cohen. But Garrett Berry, he's been threatening it all day, Kieran, leads here at Bayford Meadows.
He does indeed. And as they make their way through the final couple of corners onto the last lap then, Dante Dillon is now putting Cohen under a bit of pressure. Then up the inside, he wanted to go in towards turn 1 then, couldn't quite find that way through. Cohen then holding on to second place as they make their way through turns 2 and 3. Is there a chance here for second place for Dante Dillon? He's worked so hard to get up to third place. Can he make one more?
Well, he's going to have a go into turn 4 and he's got the move done. If he can get the exit right, he's going to have the inside for the next corner. Dante Dillon showing all those skills that won him the ABkC title is up here to second place.
Yeah, great move. Fantastic race for Dante Dillon then. And as you say, showing off that championship prowess in the British Indoor Karting Championship and up to second place.
Just to remind folks, this was the race where he started lowly on the grid. He's done a complete role reversal of earlier in the day. But Garrett Berry, he's been up front all day and takes the race win in heat number 9. Dante Dillon in second place, third for Dan Cohen, fourth Jack O'Neill, good points again for the championship leader. Joshua Sangster in fifth, Rob Langthorpe sixth but has penalties. Greg Smith seventh, James Wattis, Steve Hicks and Cameron Williams take us down to 10th. Matthew Cockerham, Ross O'Brien, you top to C3, Keith Segal, Robin Kassam, James Dunnett, Sam Morris and Andrew Bushell wrap out the running order at the end of that one. And we're going to move on to heat number 10. We've got good time to read out the grid for this one. Owen Genman will start from pole position. Jason Bradbury alongside on the front row. Mike Coppin and James Williams on row 2. Jed Toole and Ramanas Sakauskas on row 3. Bailey Morgan and Josh Adams on row 4. Adam Harding and Fraser Brunton on row 5. Reece Pope and Tim Clark on row number 6 of this field. And away we go for the start of this one. Owen Genman will be looking for victory here, as have been on great form so far this weekend. This is his final heat of the afternoon before those big races to finals. And round goes Jason Bradbury off of turn 1, and that's very, very lucky to not be a bigger incident. One other driver has gone with him. I think it's one of the C3s and is deep in the tyres. And that was very dramatic off of turn number 1 there. Can't quite make out which one of the C3s it is. We'll check the number in a moment. The tyres will be replaced. That was Jason Bradbury spinning from second on the grid as well there, Kieran. That is a big loss of points.
A big chance of points there gone, unfortunately, as Genman now leads the way. And he will definitely try and take full advantage of this one now. But he has got Mike Coppin all over the back of him. That's going to be a great battle for the lead. And there is a penalty being awarded to Fraser Brunton for a takeout.
Yeah, and it's 6 positions as well with it being a takeout. So that is a big, big penalty for Fraser Brunton. Must have been for what happened there on lap number 1. And here is a squabble between 2 very experienced drivers, Owen Genman and Mike Coppin. Jed Toole again. Jed Toole's having a very good day so far, isn't he?
He's always finding himself about the pinpoint or the pointy end of the field.
Let's have a look at that start incident again and what happened off of turn 1. So look at Bradbury on the outside there. Yeah, there's contact with Fraser Brunton, and Fraser Brunton turns Bradbury round there. And the other driver was Justin Draper, so it was one of the C3s who was taken out there as well, or had a spin in sympathy.
Yeah, just unfortunately caught up in that one. He was caught up in someone else's incident. It's always a tough one of those.
So, mistake from Genman there, and he's out winding through. Goes Mike Coppin. I think that one even surprised Mike there. Saw the gap open up and jumped in it, and that was a very, very good piece of braking from Mike Coppin. Gets him through.
Yeah, really nice move there. Just taking advantage of that one. and now moves into the lead. And I think Genman will be kicking himself after that one, because that's not a mistake he normally makes. Behind them, Josh Adams is now up into 3rd place. He's now past Jed Toole, who goes down to 4th place as the leaders now make their way through in towards turn 10, onwards to turn 11. Mike Coppin here won't have things his own way, because that's Owen Genman, who knows he feels vindicated now to try and take the lead back again. Onto the start-finish straight we will go. Mike Coppin goes very defensive. Genman will have to go the long way round if he wants this move in towards turn 1. Might get a little bit of a switch back. He'll get the inside line in towards turn 2. Mike Coppin goes for the squeeze in towards turn 2, then again in towards turn 3, and Owen Genman takes back the lead of the race. Great scrap between the two of them.
Yeah, great response there from Owen Genman after the disappointment of a lap before. Great response as well from Josh Adams in this race. His second heat was not the best of results, but here he is straight back on the bike and up at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's exactly the response he was looking for as well. It's the response he needed too. Josh Adams as well fancies his chances of getting involved in the battle ahead as well. He's got Mike Coppin ahead of him. That will be for 2nd place, as Fraser Brunton also in this mix, but he has got that penalty for a takeout. That'll cannon him down the order, unfortunately. But he'll try and make his way up the field as best as he can to negate the penalty that is coming his way.
3 and a bit minutes to go in this one. Last chance for all of these drivers out on circuit at the moment to score points and get positions set for the finals. Fraser Brunton does a move there on Jed Toole for 4th place on the road, but remember, has a takeout penalty, so 6 positions will be added to wherever Brunton finishes this race.
And also gets a contact warning as well, just to rub salt into the wounds. But up into 4th place at the moment. Let's see how far he can go to try and reduce how bad that penalty is going to affect him after this checkered flag falls. But it's been a great race so far for Owen Genman. Yes, he made a mistake into turn 1 a few laps ago, but on the very next lap, did everything he could, had a great lap to pretty much take that position back, and has got a bit of a gap now between himself and Mike Coppin. Now about 0.7 of a second it is as they make their way through in towards turn 1. Josh Adams as well. Watch out for him going into the closing stages of this race. He's taken nearly 1/10 of a second out of Mike Coppin on that last lap. Owen Genman, fastest lap of the race last time around, 54.422. Here comes Josh Adams up the inside, but there's contact going in towards turn 5. He tries to wave Mike Coppin through, but that's allowed Fraser Brunton to just simply slide his way through.
Yeah, very good stuff there from Fraser Brunton. Took advantage of that. Jason Bradbury, meanwhile, key few laps this for his day. He's 1.5 seconds off the back of the C3s, the majority of the C3s, but is a little bit quicker. So can he gain some more positions and try and squeeze back into the B final? He's got a bit of a habit of winning B finals. He's got it as a dark art. There's a shake of the head from Mike Coppin. But this is all going into the hands of Owen Genman now, because all of that kerfuffle on the previous lap, Kieran, means he's got a 1.67 second lead.
That's exactly what he needed as well, just for the others to squabble behind him. Also, there's a cone penalty out for Adam Harding in the 95. Fraser Brunton trying to find his way past Mike Coppin now, as they head their way in towards turn 6 before they head into 7 here. Back onto the power, they'll go a penalty now for Luke Dunnett. That's for track limits. And, well, Mike Coppin might not necessarily know that Fraser Brunton has a penalty, and a severe one at that. So he is going to try and defend that position for all it's worth.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a shame for Luke Dunnett that he's got that track limit penalty, because he is currently the top C3 runner in this race. So Finn Farrow will inherit that. You'd presume at the end of this lap, the last lap for heat number 10, Owen Genman comfortably out front and has put in a 54.294, one of the best laps that we've seen so far today. Can Mike Coppin hold on for second place? If he loses it on the road to Fraser Brunton, that won't matter too much because Brunton has a penalty, but Josh Adams is still there in 4th place on the road, looking to get back up to that position. Jed Toole, Bailey Morgan, it's all the youngsters. In fact, Reece Pope's in there as well. It really is all the youngsters queuing up behind Daddy Mike, it would seem, as they go round the last few corners. Owen Genman has really, really impressed me this weekend. I've watched Owen race for a good few years. I don't remember him driving as good as this in a long, long time. He's going to come around the final corner to take heat number 10, and he is a factor today. here in the lightweight sprints. Mike Coppin does hold on for second. Fraser Brunton, Josh Adams, Jed Toole, Bailey Morgan, Reese Pope take us down to 7th. Romanas Sakauskas, Adam Harding and James Williams there in the top 10. Finn Farrow wins it on the road in C3 ahead of Luke Dunnett, Peter Sharp, Tim Clark, Jason Bradbury 15th and Justin Draper in 16th. 2 races to go. Heat number 11 is next. Getting ready then for heat number 11, the penultimate heat of the day. Sam Slater has pole position, the BIKC champion, alongside Dan Healy on the front row. Archie Hobson and Ed Bars, row 2. Rihanna Percox and Rogerio Mendez on row number 3. On row 4, we have Ben Lambeth and Joshua Halloran, Stephen Westwood and Oscar Lancaster on row 5. Ashley White and Steph Theodoru on row number 6. Alex Brandham and Jagjit Singh, row 7. Simon Sharp, Dean Everest and James Browning wrap out the field. Away we go then for the start of this one. Sam Slater, big opportunity for a win here as he takes us from pole position. He's got Dan Healy on his outside going through turn number 2 and turn 3. That's a brilliant move from Dan Healy. A fantastic, brave piece of driving round the outside. We've not seen many of those today. Loading penalty already for Rihanna Percox in the number 5.
Yeah, great move from Dan Healy then. And then further down the field in the midfield, we're going almost 3 wide in towards turn 7, onto that short stretch towards turn 8. Sam Slater in 2nd place. And then it's making their way through in towards turn 9. There is your race leader in Dan Healy. Then it's the number 5 then of Rihanna Percox, but she has got a loading penalty. We're going side by side, going in towards the right-hander there of turn 10. That's the 109, is that of Oscar Lancaster there, who's found himself around. And of course he's on the grass, so he's got to pull that car back onto the tarmac before he can get going again.
Absolutely, that is not good news for Oscar Lancaster at all. And there's drivers, I feel, in this heat who are going to start missing out on A and possibly even B finals. One of them, Ed Bars, is down in 10th place. I think he was one of those who was loaded off at turn number 1, and he's got a lot of work to do, and he's had trouble in other races so far today. So this is the reigning champion, 2nd in the points before today. A lot of racing needs to be done from Ed if he's going to be in that A final now. Yeah,
he needs to get a hurry on and make sure he gets as many positions as possible. As you say, there's a chance here he might not make it into the final that we expect him to be in. There he is, Ed Bars, as he makes his way through in towards the closing couple of corners of this lap. And there is Dan Healy, who's got a sizable margin ahead of Rihanna Percox with that penalty. Then it's the 53 of Ben Lambeth. Then it's Rogerio Mendez in 4th. Archie Hobson rounding off the top 5.
This is great to see from Dan Healy. He's, once was one of the young drivers in that same mould that we were talking about with likes of Bailey Morgan and Josh Adams. But nowadays is a seasoned professional in Club 100 machinery. And it's still, I very much think he feels he has a chance in this championship. Also has a tendency to race very well on a streamed day. And with today's round, well, basically Landau next week is the only non-streamed round between now and the end of the season. So if Dan Healy can put his Alpha Live form hat on, he could be right up there in a challenging Jack O'Neill for the title at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Well, Rihanna Percox up into 2nd place, but she now has a takeout penalty on top of the loading penalty as well. So it's gone from bad to worse in this race. So she's now really trying to battle away to reduce the severity of that penalty as much as possible. 2nd place would be the best out of a bad situation.
It would indeed. Ben Lambeth once again. This is another driver I think we're going to be watching in the A final. Saw him win one of the heats earlier on in the 2nd rotation. And Rogerio Mendez having a strong race. I remember him having lots of fun here last year. I spoke to him after the event. And there's another competitor who has improved massively across the course of the last 12 months. I keep saying this about drivers and they get some form of warning. Contact warning there for Rogerio.
It's some sort of curse, that's for sure. It really is, as Lambeth has to defend them from Mendez as they make their way through in towards the 1st turn. Will Mendez think about a move up towards turn 2? thinks about it and then decides against it going in towards turn 3. There's the number 1 then of Ed Bars, then up into 6th place. And as you said, needs to get a move on. He's got a good battle for 2nd place up here. Rihanna Percox will be one of them. Ed Bars now has a cone penalty now, so that's made his day even worse.
He has got past Archie Hobson, though. So that's another position. Well, effectively, he is back into 6th place now with that cone hit. But he's fighting hard. This isn't too bad. Even if you could just get into the A final. We saw earlier with the heavyweights how crazy the A finals can be around here. He could make progress if he's in it, but he can't make progress if he's stuck in the middle of the B.
Big lead for Dan Healy then, about 3.7 seconds away from 2nd place. There's more cone penalties coming in through for the 77 of Simon Sharp and the 108 of James Browning now, and that'll be why those tyres have gone for a journey.
They have indeed, and they'll be replaced in due course. Back to their original position. 2 minutes to go. Dan Healy. Dan Healy has a 3.7 second lead. He's got no trouble at all at the front of this order. Here's the group looking for 2nd place in this race on the road at least. Of course, Percox has penalties. So Ben Lambeth at the moment would inherit 2nd place. Surely a very good grid slot for the A final. What is the pace like in comparison to Ed Bars? Well, all of these drivers are in the 54.9 to 55.0s. Ed Bars has just put in a 54.3, so he's right there now. Now, how many of them can he get by in the next 1 minute and 15 seconds? This has been a battling performance from Ed Bars. He's down in 11th, 10th place in the early stages of this race and really had to pull off the moves, which is what he's done. Archie Hobson still in there as well in 6th. That's down the inside. Lux Lambert on Rihanna Percox, got through.
That's a great move. Really late on the brakes there. A lunge, but it's a good one at that. Ben Lambert up a position, and now Rihanna Percox has to look behind her. Ed Bars is in upper position, I think, there. Managed to get past Mendes.
Yeah, did get past Rogerio Mendes there. That was a classic Ed Bars move onto the last lap. Then Dan Healy's well and truly gone 5.3 seconds up the road. Of all of these drivers on your screen now, Ben Lambeth holds 2nd place. Rihanna Percox is 3rd, but has a lot of penalties. So well, this is the thing now. Does Ed Bars try and overtake Rihanna to get Ben Lambert? That's a lot to do in the remaining few corners, with a lot of risk of trying to get past Rihanna. Does he just sit there and go, OK, I'll take P3?
He won't know how many penalties Rihanna Percox has. He knows he's got to try and get that move done. He's got that cone penalty as well. Meanwhile, further behind them, that's Hobson trying to make his way through. Theodoro right behind as well. And I think Hobson's got a move done on Mendes. Yes, he has.
But here comes Dan Healy round the final corner to take another victory. He likes stream days here at Bayford Meadows. Takes the victory. Possibly the biggest victory we've seen today, 5.7 seconds over Ben Lambeth. Rihanna Percox 3rd, but a lot of penalties. Ed Bars 4th, Archie Hobson 5th, Rogerio Mendes 6th, Steph Theodoro 7th, Ashley White, Stephen Westwood and Josh Halloran, your top 10. Sam Slater in 11th, Jagjit Singh, Dean Everest, Alex Brandon, Simon Sharp, James Browning and Oscar Lancaster complete the field. Very dramatic 11th penultimate heat. We're going to move on to the final heats here in the heavyweights, the lightweights rather. Heat 12 is next. Quick run through the grid then. Pietro Pagano and Peter Knight, your front row. Alistair Irvin and Chris Woodger, row 2. James Martin and Adrian Mertens, row 3. Dan Seeger and Daz Teal on row 4. Ned Douglas and Andrew Ravage, row 5. Matt Collier and Aidan Rudge, row 6. Russell Cooper, Sam Essery on row 7. Amy Breacher and Sean Glennon, row 8. Bryn Alban on row 9. Last chance for these drivers to get points ahead of the finals. Last heat before those finals. 7 minutes on the clock for the last time here today. Away we go for racing here at, oh, someone's killed Colin the Cone there quite spectacularly. That'll be a penalty for somebody. But Pietro Pagano has held the lead off of the first row of the grid. Alistair Irvine trying to get up down the inside of Peter Knight there. Has done so, has taken second place.
Yeah, aggressive move as well from Ned Douglas, trying to make his way through the field. Really dived it up the inside in towards turn 2, but they make their way through now in towards turn 5, and Ned Douglas does have a penalty there for loading, so that's going to be added to the end of his race. Through they go then in towards the next few corners. Let's see then, so Pagano does lead ahead of Alistair Irvine then, as they head their way in through turn 8, and then it's Peter Knight in 3rd. As the leaders now, we can see, making their way through. The 114 of Chris Woodger in 4th at the moment. And then towards the back end of the field, we're going too wide in multiple corners right now.
We are indeed, and we wouldn't expect anything less here in Club 100. End of lap number 1. Pietro Pagano leads. Alistair Irvine there in 2nd place. Peter Knight and Chris Woodger 3rd and 4th place.
Irvine looks up for this one, doesn't he? Trying to challenge away against Pietro Pagano for the lead of this final heat. Peter Knight just lurking in the distance right now, looking for a possible move. He's going to run side by side in towards turn 6 before we make our way through turn 7. So Pagano still leading the way. Irvine 2nd, Knight in 3rd, and there's Woodger in 4th. There goes Irvine, then up the inside, going in towards turn 8, then onto the curb. But Pagano's just going to have enough momentum to keep the lead. Peter Knight now fancies his chances and goes up the order, and so too does Woodger. So in the blink of an eye, Irvine's down 2 positions.
It's good stuff from both Peter Knight and Chris Woodger. Chris Woodger's been out of form, out of sorts rather, a little bit recently. And Ned Douglas not happy with the penalty for loading. Down the inside again goes Alistair Irvine, retakes 3rd place. Ned Douglas having a very frustrating day. He's the fastest driver out on circuit at the moment, 54.894. And down the inside of Woodger he goes, makes contact with Alistair Irvine, who's not too pleased about that. There's also been problems for Samuel Essery, our C3 championship leader. He's down at the back at the moment and some 4 seconds off the back of the pack. Also, we've got another C1 needing to pull out a big performance here in this race, otherwise he's going to be marooned down in one of the lesser finals. It's Daz Teal. He's currently 12th. We've already seen him retire from 1 heat. This is not good news at all for the driver number 6.
Yeah, Ned Douglas now does get a penalty for bump and pass, so that's going to be added to the end of his race now. He was making his way through the order, but race control feel that he used too much contact to make the move then.
New fastest lap of the race, Peter Knight, 54.845. Sat there in 2nd place and was about a 10th quicker than Pietro Pagano on that last lap. And here he is now trying to close in. TLW for Woodger. This could be a very spicy battle. A mix of experience and youth once again here in Club 100 Lightweights. It's very much a feature of the lightweights in comparison to the heavies. 4 minutes for Pagano to hold on to this lead.
Yes, as he makes his way onto the start-finish straight, he's got Peter Knight right behind him though, as they head their way in towards turn 1. Meanwhile, Ned Douglas in 3rd, but he has got lots of penalties coming his way. Irvine in 4th place. Meanwhile, Sam Essery gets a penalty for track limits in that 107. That'll be added to the end of his race. And we see here, once again, Peter Knight applying that pressure to Pietro Pagano as they head their way through in towards turn 5. Through the right-hander at turn 6. It's both drivers having 2 different lines as they make their way through turn 7 onto the short straight towards turn 8. And really not a lot of time to sort of take a breath, really. Another penalty for track limits going out, this time to the number 41 of Matt Collier.
Yep, not good news for Matt there. 2 drivers who've been very consistent in their result making so far this season. Peter Knight 7th in the points rankings at the start of the afternoon. Pietro Pagano 2 places further back in 9th. They've got a good lead over Ned Douglas of 2 points, or nearly 2 seconds. 2.1 seconds from first to third. Track limit warning for Andrew Ravage. Daz Teal is making up positions, has got up to 10th place now. Needs to close in on Aidan Rudge and James Martin, you'd think.
Still, the pressure is on though from Peter Knight, heading our way through in towards turn 8. Still Pagano leading this way, but lap after lap, Peter Knight has been the quicker driver. He's just not been able to find a way past. It's one thing catching the driver ahead, it's another thing actually finding your way past, especially when you come up against Pagano, who knows how to defend, he knows where to position the kart as well, as we head our way on towards the start-finish line once again. And in towards turn 1, Pagano still leads then, as Woodger falls down to 8th place on that lap alone, so he's not had a lap to remember there. Watching the leaders now making our way through turn 3 in towards 4, and Peter Knight once again can't find his way through. There's not really an opportunity on the table for Peter Knight at the moment. It's been good defensive driving from Pagano.
It's the sign of a very good sprints driver. Pagano has had strong success in this series over the years, and I feel this is one of his best seasons he's had so far. So that consistency seems to be there that perhaps eluded him in seasons past. Changed his full position around from 5th place. Dan Seeger has got up to 5th place. Adrian Mertens and James Martin have followed. It's Chris Woodger who unfortunately has lost 3 places as a result, as we're on to the last lap now. Alistair Irvine has got past Ned Douglas whilst we've been watching the leaders. Chris Woodger has fought back, has got back past James Martin for 7th place, but still Daz Teal down in 10th place. This is not where I expected Daz to be. Samuel Essery has caught up some of the field now, has got past Matthew Collier. Amy Breacher currently top C3 runner in 12th place. And a good chance, I think, with Amy's results of maybe getting in the B final. If not, will be towards the front of the C. We're going to focus here on Pietro Pagano. Oh, he's got a little bit of work to do. Peter Knight is the closest he's been so far as they go into the last corner for the last time here in the heat. Pietro Pagano is going to take the race victory here from Peter Knight there in heat number 12. Third on the line is going to be Alistair Irvine. 4th for Ned Douglas, Dan Seeger, Adrian Mertens, Chris Woodger, James Martin, Aidan Rudge and Daz Teal take us down to 10th. Good result for Amy Breacher there in 11th, ahead of Andrew Ravage, Sean Glennon, Russell Cooper, Bryn Albin, Samuel Essery and Matt Collier. Well, there we go. That is all the heat racing completed for the lightweights. We now do, well, not us, Race Control, do all of the maths to work out who's in the C, B and A finals. C final coming up. We're going to take a short break, though, and give a little reminder about the Young Drivers' Championship, which has got 2 rounds left to go this season. We'll be back very, very soon with the C final.
So yes, Club 100, we are launching the first ever high-performance two-stroke arrive and drive series for young drivers. We're naming it the Young Drivers Championship, designed for 14 to 18-year-olds. So, 26 years Club 100 has been racing now, and we've had thousands through the door, enjoying their racing with us at that level playing field in a high-performance car. Most of the drivers have tended to be sort of 18 plus, even going up to 70 years of age. And I think the awareness has not been there for the last couple of years that we can take drivers at the age of 14, in the year of their 15th birthday, they can race. So we thought it would be ideal to introduce something that attracts the younger driver and have them all racing as a group together, separate from the main Club 100 championships on a separate weekend. So young drivers out there looking at this video may be thinking, how does it work? What's it going to cost me? £1,400 is what it's going to cost you for a full season. 7 rounds of racing in the Young Drivers Championship with absolutely no hidden extras. So you're probably thinking, well, if we damage the car, Do we have to bring our own fuel? Do we have to do anything with regards to tyres? No, everything is provided. Your transponder is provided for the timing. Even race kit is provided if you don't have your own racewear. Drivers just simply need to turn up and drive.
Hello, I'm Josh, I'm 15 and I'm from Norfolk. I've been racing in Club 100 for just over a year now. I really enjoy racing with these new karts. What I really like about Club 100 is the fact that no matter what driver level you are at, you will always have someone that you can race against because there are so many people. I really love racing in the quicker karts with the two-stroke engines because I find it more fun. What I also enjoy is that everyone is on the same equipment and it's also pretty level, so it's all down to driver ability.
I'm Bailey Morgan, I am 14 years old and I am from Hastings. I started karting when I was 5 years old and I've been in Club 100 for about a year now. What I love about Club 100 is the sheer speed of the karts and how the brakes are really good at the same time and how each and every track is different in its own way. Well, it is really good because it's more clean, more fair and the karts are obviously more fast, so that's more enjoyable.
My name's Martin, I'm Josh's dad. We got involved with Club 100 just over a year ago. We really got involved with the championship. We found it so friendly, we found it a nice level playing field for the kids and adults to race. But more than that, it's a good family get-together. Josh is talking to his chums that he's met racing. We're talking to the parents. It's become a real social event with us.
My name's Chris, I'm Bailey's dad. I go to all the races with Bailey in the current championship at Club 100, but we've got a new concept coming out next season called the Young Drivers Championship. It will put Bailey and other youngsters that are currently in Club 100 into the same bracket. It's a brilliant idea, and you know, to bring more young people into it, and hopefully, you know, they then move on to the bigger championship, you know, when they feel you know, they're at the appropriate age and readiness, really.
So Motorsport UK, the UK's governing body for all things on four wheels, right up to Formula One, they recognise Club 100 and they think the Club 100 concept is a good thing, and they really do want to get involved in the Club 100 Arrive and Drive concept. So for the first time for next year in the Young Drivers Championship, which we're introducing, drivers that take part in the full season will be able to achieve their full race licence with Motorsport UK.
I really look forward to racing in the Young Drivers Championship next season, as I think it will be nice to race against people my own age.
The Young Drivers Championship is a brilliant concept. We're really looking forward to coming. Joshua, to be able to race with people his own age on a level playing field is second to none.
I can't wait to race in the Young Drivers Championship.
So if you want to get involved in the Club 100 Young Drivers Championship next season, just head to the website www.club100.co.uk or find us on Facebook, Club 100 Racing.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bayford Meadows. We're getting ready for our finals here today for the 2021 Lightweight Sprints Championship round number 7. And we will be kicking things off with the C final. I'm just checking through to see whether we have a grid yet or not for the C final. Don't think we quite do. But yeah, the Young Drivers Championship. You just saw the video there. Couple more rounds for Young Drivers Championship this season, both to be held at Buckmore Park. Great to have Buckmore Park back on the calendar after all the trials and tribulations down there in the last 18 months. And just as a reminder for yourselves at home and myself, those two rounds on Sunday, September the 26th and Sunday, November 28th. So if you want to get entered for that, doesn't matter if you haven't done any of the other rounds early this season, you can get involved. Head across to the website www.club100.co.uk for all the information. Kieran, this C final, we saw the heavyweights won earlier on today. Top 4 obviously racing through from this into the B final. What did you take from that heavyweights one this morning?
Well, P4 is a very, very important position, and if there are penalties, which there have been quite a few handed out in these heats so far today, then it could really jumble up the order. So the main thing is get the start right, keep it clean, keep it on the island, and if you finish in the top 4, you got that chance, that ticket to get into the B final. But with the size of the grid this time around, it's more than likely there's going to be at least one penalty in the field. Whether that's going to be at the pointy end, we'll have to wait and see.
Some interesting driver lids in this one. I see Amy Breacher there. Apologies, we haven't got a formal grid in the box yet, but I can see Amy Breacher there has pole position because she's heading out first. Ned Douglas is in there. Jason Bradbury's in there. So there's going to be some big players who normally are at least towards the front of a B final here in the C. No practice for this final, just got to go straight into it. We have now got formal grid, so I'll just quickly read it out to you. Amy Breacher and James Williams on row 1, Russell Cooper and Andrew Bushell row 2, Ned Douglas, Matt Collier row 3, Jensen Bradbury and Peter Sharp row 4, Sean Glennon and Luke Dunnett on row 5, Keith Segal and Bryn Alban row 6, Finn Farrow and Robin Casson row 7, Ross O'Brien and James Dunnett row 8, Tim Clark and Alex Brandon row 9, Sam Morris and Simon Sharp on row 10, James Browning forms out the 21 car field. See, now that's what you do, drivers. You don't hit Colin the Cone, you drive around Colin the Cone, as our pace car driver is trying to find his way to the front of the field to pace this lap round. So, as I'm sure you've already established, but just as a quick reminder, if the race result stays, if we have a Spa F1 2021, Amy Breacher, James Williams, Russell Cooper and Andrew Bushell will qualify through to the B final. But we're not going to have that because, for one, it's not raining.
That's a good sign. That's normally a good sign that the race is going to go ahead. So let's see what happens. Like I said, keeping your penalties down to 0 is going to be so critical going into this one.
12 minutes on the clock then for our lightweights and their C final. Pace kart does pull off to driver's right. Amy Breacher will take us into turn 1 for the start of this race already. James Williams has cut across into P2 very nicely indeed. That's one of the best runs from P2 I've seen somebody execute so far today. Into turn 3 then. This is where it's going to get a little bit scrappy for 3rd, 4th and everywhere else. But that's pretty good. Oh, the tyres have just got knocked out the way on turn 4. And there's some squabbling down into turn 5. Someone's going to go out very, very wide as a result of that. But for Breacher, that's absolutely spot on at the front.
That's exactly the start she needed as well. And now she can focus on trying to get away from the likes of James Williams and Russell Cooper behind. But it's been a start there for Ned Douglas, who finds himself now up into 3rd place. Meanwhile, further down the field, we're still going 2-3 wide.
Ned Douglas has a bump and pass penalty. That's it. He cannot make it out of the B final, out of the C final or the B final for that matter, because that's +4 positions. The best Ned can do is now 5th. End of lap number 1. Amy Breacher leads ahead of James Williams, Ned Douglas and Russell Cooper 3rd and 4th, but Douglas has that penalty. At the moment, it's Russell Cooper and Jason Bradbury going through into the B final.
Yeah, so Amy Breacher leading the way. James Williams won't necessarily know because as a driver, you're not normally looking for anybody else's number. You're just looking for your own on that E flag on the start line. But Ned Douglas is putting the pressure on, even though he won't be able to make his way through in towards the B final later on. One of them, Jason Bradbury, might be a beneficiary in that one, in that number 17, currently 5th place on the road. There he is in that the only red plate on the grid in this one. And he'll be definitely the beneficiary because that puts him now into the top 4.
Info for some of our other Class 1s. We were concerned about the likes of Daz Teal. Obviously, he has made the B final, not being in this race. I've just had a quick look at the grid for that B final. A lot of work to do. We'll cut onto that later. 10 minutes of this race to go. Bradbury down the inside, going for a move there on Russell Cooper. A little bit too scribbly there, and Sean Glennon's going to drive around the outside. That's brilliant work. That is really, really good driving from Sean Glennon in the number 89 black suit and white helmet. to cut through, whilst Bradbury and Cooper were having a bit of an unnecessary squabble there. And that's put him in a spot where he's in the top 4 now.
Yeah, one driver who will be, his last race will be in this C final, will be Luke Dunnett, because he's got himself now a bump and pass penalty. So that's +4 positions. That means he can't make it into the B final either. It's so important that you just keep a clean race. Make sure you try and get into that top 4. Ned Douglas knows that now. He won't be able to make it through. So James Williams in 3rd place. Then it's Sean Glennon in 4th. And Bradbury still in that top 4 once Ned Douglas's penalty is taken into account.
Good number of C3s I think have made it through to the B final. Nonetheless, this is still a big race for the C3s in it, and their own championship. A good mix of the classes at the front of this race. Currently 2 C2s, sorry, 1 C2, 1 C1 and 2 C3s going through. There is Jason Bradbury, who I think will be sweating a little bit. They're in 5th place on the road, but I think, as you mentioned, Kieran, not necessarily aware that one of the drivers up ahead has a penalty. Here down the inside comes the 89 of Sean Glennon, trying to get past James Williams on the road, and here comes Bradbury. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. They need to be careful here to not pick up any penalties of their own. But Bradbury is through and into 4th on the road.
Yes, he is. And as they make their way now in towards turn 5, yeah, you're right, they've just got to calm it down. They can't afford any penalties. That's going to rule them out of the C final altogether. The number 86 of Williams still trying to find a way past Jason Bradbury then, as they now make their way on towards the backstretch in towards turn 8. This long left-hander now. And who's that that's joined the battle behind them? It's the 26 then of Russell Cooper. He's just been awarded a track limits warning. There's the battle for what is the lead at the moment. Amy Breacher leading Ned Douglas, but as we've already mentioned, Ned Douglas has a penalty, 4 positions. So in essence, Amy Breacher could just let Ned Douglas through and should still take the lead of the race.
Yep. And still take the trophy that's on offer as well for a C final victory. And Amy's had at least one of those so far this season, if my memory serves me correctly. 5 minutes of the race gone, 7 of it to go. Here's Russell Cooper trying to find a way past James Williams. This is the key battle over the last spot in the B final. And oh, Cooper down the inside makes contact, and I would give that back if I were you, Russell. I think that could get called as a BAP. And who's this coming in? It's Andrew Bushell. Andrew Bushell in the number 52 now wants a piece of the action.
Yeah, and also he's got to be careful there that he doesn't go over the wheels of the cart in front as well. Getting so close was Williams there.
Yeah.
Actually starting to ride the rear wheels of the cart in front of him as they make their way now on towards the start-finish straight. Bradbury with a contact warning, so too for James Williams. So both of them picking up a contact warning for their troubles.
Side by side between the 52 and 86. This is Bushell and Williams, and through goes Bushell, and here comes Bryn Albon as well in the 16. 16 on the back of his helmet also. And oh, Bryn having a look into turn number 5. So the situation as it stands, oh, great move there from Bryn Albon.
I'm just trying to see where he started. I think he started outside of the top 14. So he's had a stunning drive.
12th.
He was 12th.
Yeah.
So he's had a really, really good drive in this C final. He could really bring himself up there, if he hasn't already, into that top 4 contention.
Definitely agree with that. We are now into the second half of this C final. And Amy Breacher holding, in fact, yes, right. So the lead has changed on the road. But remember, Douglas has the penalty. So Breacher would still inherit the C final victory. So it's Breacher, Glennon, Bradbury, Cooper. If the race was to finish right now, those would be the 4 going through into the B final. And crucially, for Cooper, 1.2 second gap over Bryn Albon. Bryn Albon is seen as been putting in some good laps, some good overtakes. This next lap, I feel, Kieran, will be a real barometer as to whether Bryn Albon has a chance here of getting in this top 4.
He's certainly played his cards, hasn't he? He's just got to hope now that he can get his moves done and dusted. Well, the next kart ahead of him is Russell Cooper, and he was about 1.2 behind on the previous lap. So, yeah, this is going to be 5 minutes here that Bryn Album needs to put in good lap after good lap, as Ned Douglas there puts in the fastest lap of the race so far, 54.7, as he now charges his way up towards turn 2. Amy Breacher behind with Glennon, Sean Glennon in 3rd place, Jason Bradbury in 4th. There's Russell Cooper in 5th place, and Bryn Albon is not too far behind. Looking at it, he took about 1/10 of a second out of Russell Cooper on that last lap. But going by that, per lap is not going to be enough. He needs more, does Bryn?
He does indeed. Matthew Collier has got past Andrew Bushell for 8th place in this race. No other changes of position at the moment. Through the infield they go. And I've got to say, Breacher, Glennon and Bradbury have fought their way through this C final pretty well. I think they've got the message now of what they need to do, just bring this one home. Again, they may not know that Ned Douglas has a penalty, but what they do know is that they, as a top 4, are clear of the rest of the field. So just keep working together. Don't encourage anybody else to come into your battle. What's Albon doing? Well, Albon took 2/10 out of Cooper on that last lap. The gap is now less than a second. Something has happened to Andrew Bushell, because Andrew Bushell has fallen 12 places, and I think I know why, because Luke Dunnett has fallen places as well and had a takeout penalty, and they were together on track. So those two drivers have come together, and both of their races are pretty much done. 3¼ minutes to go then here in the semi-final for the lightweight sprints Club 100 in association with ROTAX. 2021 visit, first of 2 visits actually, to Bayford Meadows.
What about Sean Glennon here? Thinking about a move in towards turn 2, then in towards turn 3. Not quite there yet. Amy Breacher holding firm. Out of turn 4 they will go. And Bradbury's just looking on for this one, hanging back for now, because he knows if there's a little bit of a scrap here, he'll be first to reap the benefits. In through turn 6 we go, then on towards turn 7. So Amy Breacher still hanging on here, but Sean Glennon is really, really trying to put the pressure on. But, you know, this is a good drive from Jason Bradbury, because he knows he doesn't have to get involved in this one. He could let this play out ahead of him.
They could indeed. Just keeping an eye on that gap. It's looking good for Cooper still. 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. 1.5 seconds. This will be really frustrating for Ned Douglas. I think he'll kick himself after this race. He had the speed to get into this top 4, but that penalty early on as Bradbury goes down the inside, makes a bit of a rough move there on Sean Glennon. Let's be careful with that, because too much contact could knock himself out of the top 4 himself. Remember, penalties applied from the back.
Yes, but in his mind, he's got the move done, so he's up a position and up now into 3rd place. And he's got Amy Breacher ahead of him, as Ned Douglas still leading this way, but with that penalty, less than 90 seconds to go in this final.
A couple of track limit warnings coming in, Matt Collier and Luke Dunnett. Last lap board out then. Here is your top 4 coming through. That's Sam Taylor having a bit of a play as a tester there. Breacher, Bradbury, Glennon and Cooper clear then. It's been a good effort from Bryn Albon. I think he's just going to run out of time to close down the number 26. For Amy Breacher, I was just about to say for Amy Breacher it's looking like another win, but Jason Bradbury's just gone down the inside and now inherits the C final lead. Remember, Ned Douglas has a 4-place penalty. And Breacher trying to fight back here on Bradbury. Well, clearly, drivers want that C final trophy today, not just the honour of getting through into the B final. Around the final couple of corners, Ned Douglas will take it on the road, but Jason Bradbury, for the 2nd year in a row, is going to win a minor final here at Bayford Meadows. It was the B final last year, and he's going to get the chance to do that again in a few moments' time. Takes the C final ahead of Amy Breacher. Sean Glennon. Russell Cooper will be the 4th driver across the line without a penalty, so we'll be in the B final. Bryn Albin just outside, Matt Collier, James Williams, Finn Farrow and Robin Kassam, your top 10. Luke Dunnett, Ross O'Brien, Keith Segal, Sam Morris and James Dunnett take us down to 15th. Alex Brandon, Simon Sharp, Peter Sharp, Tim Clark and James Browning, your top 20. And Andrew Bushell there, taken out in 21st. Decent race that, Kieran, I thought.
Yeah, not too bad at all. But yeah, Jason Bradbury taking the win after the penalties have been applied. More of the same, please, in the B final.
Absolutely, we'll have that B final up shortly after this. B final time here at Bayford Meadows for Club 100 2021, the Lightweight Sprints Championship. We should have a grid for this one, so let's have a look at that if we can. And we'll also have confirmed who the 4 drivers through from the C final are, post weigh-ins and all of that. Rogério Mendes has pole position, Matthew Cockerham alongside on the front row, Ashley White and Stephen Westwood row 2, Sam Slater, champion in the BIKC, and Joshua Halloran there on row 3. Dante Dillon, our other BIKC champion, is alongside Andrew Rabbage on row 4. Archie Hobson and Rob Langthorpe form an all BUKC graduates row there on row 5. Dan Cohen and Rihanna Percox, also BUKC graduates, are there on row 6. James Martin and Joshua Sangster on row 7. Oscar Lancaster and Cameron Williams on row 8. Daz Teal has a lot of work to do, alongside Chris Woodger as well on the 9th row of this grid. Justin Draper and Dean Everest are there on row 10. Jagjit Singh and Samuel Essery are on row 11, so that's already quite a few C3s up into this final, and they have been joined, as far as I'm aware, by Jason Bradbury, Amy Breacher, Sean Glennon and Russell Cooper. So it is the 4 that we expected. So away they go for the B final. Top 2 in this final go through. And with a lot of drivers who would expect to be in that A final, this should be one of the most competitive races of the day. Beautiful conditions here at Bayford Meadows. A perfect September afternoon, I feel, Kieran.
Yeah, September afternoon under the sunlight here. The clouds have started to clear, if not they have already. Ready for the B final.
Ready for the B final, indeed. Keep an eye on our BIKC representatives in this race. 12 minutes on the clock. Rogério Mendes takes us from pole position. Looks across, gets the start very, very correct. Will lead through turn 1, and already the number 18 of Ashley White is trying to force through as well. There's a lot of jostling in the middle of the pack there, with Rihanna Percox and Daz Teal in and amongst it. Round go, and that's Sam Slater, I think, getting into the back of Ashley White, and Ashley White has been relegated all the way to the bottom of the order. There's 2 drivers off. It's Rob Langthorpe in there. Can't quite make out the other driver who's off at turn 2. That must have been a lot of loading into turn 2 for 2 drivers to end up that far off the circuit. Very disappointing for those involved. Into turn 8 they go. As I say, this is a big, big field. 26 karts out there today. Jason Bradbury. Jason Bradbury gone up about half the field already. What a start from the C final winner. So it's Mendes from Slater, Cochrane there in 3rd. Daz Teal is up 14 positions up to 4th through all the chaos of that. James Martin, Dan Cohen, Dante Dillon, Joshua Halloran, Rihanna Percox and Jason Bradbury is up to 10th. The drivers, it was Cameron Williams. It was still, Cameron Williams in the yellow helmet, number 54, taken out on that first lap. So not a good day at all for either Rob Langthorpe or Cameron Williams there, Kieran.
Yeah, not at the moment, and we'll have to. Well, there'll be a debrief on how that one happened. But meanwhile, we've got the number 6 of Darren Teal going up the inside and taking a position away there, moving up a place. There's Mendes leading the way. So now Teal up into 2nd place. What a start it's been for Teal. He needed something like that because only the top 2 can progress into the A final.
Absolutely. This is a big, big opportunity for Rogério Mendes to get a big point score. I'm just looking through Mendes's finals results so far from this season. I'm not too sure that he's actually made an A final so far in 2021. Black flag for Ashley White. That's going to be something procedural again, I think. So he'll have to come in. Well, his race was already pretty much over after that first lap incident. And track limit warning. And in fact, I think there's damage. I think there's damage to Ashley White's kart, which is why he's had to come in. This is a good drive so far from Sam Slater. Winning a place in this series through from winning the British Indoor Karting Championship last year. Daz Teal, in fact, Daz Teal has got up into 2nd place here. Penalty for Stephen Westwood. Bump and pass for Westwood, so he definitely cannot make the A final. But such is the close nature of this racing, Kieran. If these drivers in 3rd, 4th, 5th and lower down, they've got to keep going because all it takes is for one cone to be knocked over by Teal as down the inside of Slater goes Martin. They're going to be right back in it, aren't they?
They are indeed, and Slater's trying to hang in there up the inside in towards 7, then in towards turn 8 we go. And I think Slater's allowed Martin to just take that position away. And Rihanna Percox tried to take advantage of that one, couldn't quite get the kart in the right place. But she's right now on the back of Slater then as they make their way through the last couple of corners on towards turn 12. And can Percox here get a good run out of turn 12 on towards the start-finish line? There's a car off.
I think that might be Cameron Williams again.
Percox then up the inside, does get the move, but a little bit of contact going all the way through. There were yellow flags there. That's what the drivers were acknowledging, heading up towards turns 2 and 3.
JV spotted something because he's pointed to somebody, and that's quite bizarre there. Sam Slater almost threw himself out of the kart as he was having that incident with Matthew Cockram. I think he's okay now. He's just, well, he's clearly not very happy about that. He dusts himself out a bit. Nicky's going to come over and see if he's okay.
A shift of momentum there as he was going across the grass. He just wasn't expecting it. His body weight was going one way, then it was flung another, and it just completely got him off balance there. And you say that was with the 30 of Matthew Cockram there. That little bit of contact. That's 7 minutes to go then. Mendes leads, and by a sizable gap, is it? Well, it's been hounded down by Teal in the last few laps. Teal 54.5, the fastest lap of the race set last time around. Took 0.6 of a second out of Mendes' lead alone, and there is a penalty there for the takeout now for Matthew Cockram.
C3 news, because this is a big race for C3, or more than likely to decide C3. Sean Glennon leading that category at the moment in 7th place, denoted by the blue number boards. Samuel Essery and Jagjit Singh also on the podium for C3 at the moment. But Rogério Mendes and Daz Teal quite happy with this. They are 2.5 seconds clear of everybody else. Don't defend too much, Rogério, because getting through to that A final is more important than the race win in this one at this stage of proceedings.
The only problem with that, Andrew, is there's no trophy here for second place, really. You've got to try and get that win, but you're right. He's got to be focusing on getting top 2 as Teal then runs side by side through this log right-hander at turn 6, then in towards turn 7 to take us back onto the short run. Teal thought he got a good run out of there, but Mendes An even better one. Penalty then for Woodger then, which is forcing a driver wide. So that's going to be a penalty added to the end of his race. But a battle for the lead here for this top spot in the B final takes its way now through the final couple of corners. Penalty for Jason Bradbury for a bump and pass. Again added to the end of his race.
Yeah, so the progress of Bradbury is going to be arrested there. +4 for him. Castile takes a very wide line the entry to turn number 1 there. He's desperately trying to find his way through. The good news for these two drivers is that the pace of James Martin means they're not actually being caught, even whilst they have this little squabble. Rihanna Percox is there in 4th place. It's not really been her day. Would have expected to be in the A final. This is going to be a bit of a hit to Rihanna in terms of the championship. Was in 10th place today, but may lose that to the likes of Alistair Irvin and Fraser Brunton, who both made the A final.
See if Mendes can hold on here for just under 5 minutes left. We'll have to wait and see how it can all go. He hasn't, unfortunately, so Teal has now gone into the lead. Then Mendes now in 2nd place, just over 4.5 minutes to go, but Mendes now will now need to try and hang on to the back of Darren Teal for as long as possible, because the longer he can stay behind, in theory, the more pace he's going to have there, because James Martin, that lap alone, took 0.6 of a second, but there's battling going on behind here, because that's Jason Bradbury going up the inside, barrelling up the inside. He does take up some positions away. That's going to put Matthew Cockerham down a position.
It is indeed. So Dante Dillon getting involved there, representing the BIKC well today. It's been great to see him racing out there. 4 minutes to go here in the B final. And Daz Teal, this has been a great response, having had that disappointment of, well, 2 of his heats going awry. Did just enough to get into this B final, and then has raced through with the level of racecraft that we come to expect from someone who is normally, let's say, up in the top, more than top, in the top 10 of an A final. There is Jason Bradbury, now up to 5th on the road, but with penalties. Penalty for Samuel Essery. All bump and pass penalties, unfortunately, today in the lightweights. James Martin has a track limit warning, as does Rihanna Percox. To either be coming into the or coming out of the penultimate corner or out of the first corner. The promotion places looking pretty much set now for Daz Teal and Rogerio Mendes. Everyone else just racing for points now. A bit of contact there between Dan Cohen and Stephen Westwood. And I think that was Joshua Halloran trying to get down the inside. Yes, it was. Joshua Halloran going there for 11th place. Can he get it done through one of the fastest corners on the circuit? Or just outbreaks himself a little bit for turn number 12. He's going to lose it on the overrun. Joshua Sangster has got past Archie Hobson for 13th. Sean Glennon ahead of Samuel Essery again. Penalty for Rihanna Percox. Too many excursions outside of track limits. That's going to be 2 places. So already, well, that very much confirms it now that Rihanna will not be making the A final today.
No, not today. And like you say, it's not been her day at all, and that's going to cost her valuable points. Meanwhile, then, that was the number 50 there of Dante Dillon trying to go up the inside of Matthew Cockerham. Now, it was an ambitious move up in towards 8, but he managed to get out of it, bail out of it at the last possible moment, and saw the door was closing. So Teal takes us on for another lap, completed 11 laps so far. As there's the 17 of Bradbury then, making his way through. And let's see what Dante Dillon can do right on the back of Cockerham. That's a battle for 6th place.
Good lap there from Archie Hobson. Gained 2 positions past Halloran and Woodger. Halloran and Sangster, apologies. It's Woodger who's also got past Sangster. And Andrew Ravage has also got past Jagjit Singh for 16th place. 1 minute 20 to go then. Daz Teal and Rogerio Mendes holding it together at the front of the field, doing what they need to do to get through to the A final. They've got a good gap, nearly 3 seconds over James Martin in 3rd. And I feel for James, this is the worst place you could possibly finish in one of these Club 100 sprints rounds, is 3rd in a B final. So close to the A, yet so far.
Yeah, but all credit to Teal and Mendes. They've worked together because they're separated by 6/10, and yet they've managed to build a 4-second lead over anybody behind them. So they've done well on that stretch. Meanwhile, then, that is Dante Dillon going up the inside of Cockerham then, and does take that position away through turn 3. They've got to be careful, though, because that's Essery who fancies his chances down the inside. He takes away that position now from Cockerham. And now Glennon maybe might fancy his chances. I don't think he's quite got the positioning there to take the advantage, just like Essery did. But as we've already mentioned before, if you lose one position in these karts, you lose so much momentum that you might find yourself losing 2-3 positions in one fell swoop.
You see Samuel Essery with the orange heart on the front of his helmet, supporting the Marshals community. Big thanks to our Marshals here at Bayford Meadows today. Without them, we could not go racing. We are on to the last lap now. Daz Teal has the lead. Rogerio Mendes 6/10 behind, but crucially 3.8 ahead of Rihanna Percox, that is on the road now. How are our C finalists doing? Well, we just caught a sight there of Amy Breacher in 21st position. And we've seen Jason Bradbury up in 5th. So he's given the B final a good go as Mr. B final. And quite a few of these on sprints last year, on streamed sprints last year, but today it's going to be Daz Teal, who was not happy in the heats, but he's going to be back in the A final and is going to give it full gusto, I'm sure. Daz Teal takes the B final here today at Bayford Meadows. Rogerio Mendes qualifies for an A final, one of the best results for Rogerio so far this season. Rihanna Percox is 3rd, but has penalties. James Martin 4th, Jason Bradbury 5th, Dante Dillon 6th. Samuel Essery wins in Class 3. Matthew Cockerham in 8th. Sean Glennon 9th. Stephen Westwood in 10th. Daniel Cohen, R.G. Hobson, Chris Woodger, Joshua Halloran, Joshua Sangster takes to 15th. Andrew Ravage, Jagjit Singh, Justin Draper, Dean Everest and Russell Cooper is your top 20. Amy Breacher, Oscar Lancaster, Rob Langthorpe, Cameron Williams were the last of those to finish. Sam Slater, actually, yeah, Sam Slater across the line as well did finish. And Ashley White was the single retirement in that B final. Well, one more race to go then on the schedule here at Bayford Meadows. It will be the lightweight sprint A final, and we'll get ready for that very, very shortly because it's up next. Back here at Bayford Meadows then, Club 100 Cadet is indeed coming. The trailer video is on the Club 100 website, www.club100.co.uk. And JB's been saying this to us in the drivers' briefings. He said it yesterday. I've no doubt he's been saying it again today. Sharing the news of Club 100 Cadet is one of the biggest ways that you can support Club 100 at the moment. So do please share the videos out, and there'll be more news and things to share in the coming week. So look out for those bits of news on the social media channels. A final will have, of course, a short practice session. And it's always a good opportunity before the madness of the last race of the day, just to take a few calm moments, think about the day that's been. And Kieran, your first experience here in the Club 100 comms box. Have you enjoyed it?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it, yeah. I mean, we've seen some great racing action. You know, lightweights are a little more aggressive, that's for sure. We've seen a couple more penalties for the lightweights than maybe would have liked, but, you know, it's hard racing. You know, we've got some quick drivers here who want to get some moves done, maybe a bit overzealous at times. But on the whole, I think we've had some really good racing, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my time in the box.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed having you here. That's it.
Oh,
Best super sub I've ever had.
Oh, that's nice.
But yep.
90th minute, wasn't it? 90th minute sub?
Yep, straight in there.
Straight in there.
Bangs it in. 2-1 win. Everybody's happy.
3 points on the road.
3 points on the road, indeed. So the A final will be the same in length, 12 minutes. 26 drivers in there. Upcoming events for folks, if you're not aware already, we will be at Llandown next week. No stream for Llandown next week, but places still available on the grids for the sprints on the Sunday and the endurance race and the SP60 on the Saturday. Head across to the website for all the information on those. Remaining rounds that are all streamed. We've got a good run of streamed rounds now between now and the end. Between now and the end of the year. So Wilton Mill on the 10th of October will be streamed. 31st of October at Lydd will be streamed. November 14th back here at Bayford Meadows to finish the season will also be streamed. Alpha Live news. I'm going to have a look at Alpha Live's YouTube page to remind folks of what there is to look forward on the Alpha Live network. Also going on today has been the iArmy O-Plate. So go and have a watch of that after we're done here. Motorsport UK British Kart Championships at Warden Law up in the northeast next weekend is what I've just been told in my ear. And also off the top of my head, remaining this month, Wilton Mill Kart Club, fourth Sunday of the month. Commentary from Double Dash Motorsport Media. That will be on for you. Plenty of reasons to make sure that you've subscribed. British Mini Bikes Three Sisters also next weekend for you, for those enjoying something of the two-wheeled variety. And Bambino Kart Club at Glannygores. Plenty happening over the next few weeks as we roll through September. Make sure that you've subscribed and click that notification bell and all of the other things. Here's your grid for the A final. Jack O'Neill has pole position. Owen Genman alongside an all-Titan Motorsport front row. Dan Healy and Garrett Berry. Dan Healy won the A final here at Bayford Meadows last year in front of the cameras. Can he do it again there from row number 2? Reese Pope, brilliant races from Reese so far today, has been rewarded with a third row start alongside Mike Coppin. Steph Theodoru and Dan Seeger are on the fourth row of the grid. Peter Knight stunned the world of Club 100 here last year in this very race. Starts this time on the fifth row alongside Josh Adams, Fraser Brunton and Steve Hicks are there on the sixth row of the grid. Adrian Mertens has been fantastic today. Seventh row of the grid. That's how well he's done. He's alongside the reigning champion and current second place driver in points, Ed Bars, who has got, for his championship, a lot to do here in this race. Alistair Irvin and Bailey Morgan are there on row 8. Aidan Rudge has been also fantastic. All of these drivers have been fantastic today. He's there on the 9th row of the grid alongside Jed Toole. Ramanas Sakauskis and Pietro Pagano on row 10. Ben Lambeth and Adam Harding on row 11. Greg Smith in an A final. Brilliant to see. It starts on the 12th row of the grid alongside James Wattis. And we will also have our 2 qualifiers from the B final, who I can confirm in a moment when the computer refreshes itself, were indeed Darren Daz Teal and Rogerio Mendes. So don't worry, you're not missing any competitive action. This is the warm-up laps that the A finalists are allowed to have. There's a few drivers there electing to pull into the pits and go for a karts change, which they are perfectly allowed to do.
But it's only the one they're allowed to change, and if they don't like that kart they've changed it over to, tough.
Tough
they're stuck
indeed.
with it. So it's a real gamble at that point.
Hello, Chris Simpson. He's been away watching. Oh, he's been away cycling. Not watching the cycling, doing the cycling. What have you missed? Everything.
Yeah, we had everything.
A blimp flew across the circuit.
Yep.
Took out Daz Teal. Received a 6th place penalty.
The blimp getting the 6th place penalty just topped it off, really, you know. But you're just in time for the A final.
All can be rewatched, of course, for free here on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. May need to give it a little bit of time for the renderings and the things to happen, and the the video technology that I don't understand. But give it 24 hours, the whole stream will be back up for you.
Give it that technical jargon and make it sound like you know what you're talking about, and then it'll be fine. Definitely. So Jack O'Neill then starting at the top of the order and looking to bounce back and get a win here in this A final. Plenty of points up for grabs now. The only question is, who's going to grab them?
Just before we get going with this one, Tuesday night, DDMM YouTube channel, 9 PM. We are going to go around again for another formation lap. Mr. Dimolo's Gran Turismo Sport Extravaganza, Series 5, Week 2. Will be on the DDMM YouTube channel from 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. Good number of the drivers that you see racing here in that one. Some of them who were here yesterday, some of them are due to be UKC. That should be a lot of good fun. We've pretty much got some form of Club 100 VUKC sim racing esports every week, midweek. Apart from next week, because I'm off on holiday. DDMM Tyre is shut for 1 week. And then we've got the iRacing Championship and the remaining Gran Turismo Sports Championship days till pretty much mid-November. We are good to go then for this lightweight sprint A final here on the Alpha Live YouTube channel and on the Facebook pages for Karting Magazine, Club 100 and DDMM. This should be a belter. Lots riding on this, not just in terms of today, but the championship as a whole. Jack O'Neill will take us from pole position. 12 minutes have started here for the A final. Very good start for Dan Healy, already up to second place. Owen Genman has been forced out wide. Mike Coppin was also very wide there on the exit of turn number 1. What a start from Reese Pope as well, as already up to third place. They're 3 by 3 going through the tyres, and surely that's not going to work, and it's Dan Seeger who's been forced out wide. Contact warning for Steve Hicks as round goes Pietro Pagano. Going into turn 5, Adrian Mertens has gone off on the grass as well. A very dramatic start, and it's a false start. It is a false start because there's too many karts facing the wrong way. One of them was Mike Coppin. And, oh yes, Bailey Morgan was off in there as well. So that will be reformed. Time will probably be knocked off the race as well.
Yeah, Greg Smith has trouble as well.
And Mike Coppin trying to help Greg Smith to get back to the pits. So there'll be a bit of a pause here. Ah, there's a cone.
That'll be why.
Ah, well done, Greg. Pulls to the side of the road.
Do you get a warning for taking the cone out of your kart, though?
You don't. I see. This just reminded me. It reminded me that of a conversation we were having in the hotel bar last night. There was a time where it was at BUKC, Three Sisters, and a cone went on a little journey. He got perfectly wedged between the left-hand side pod and the steering arm of the right wheel, and a certain student. And if you were around about 3 years ago, you'll know who I'm talking about here, from Huddersfield University, carried that cone in situ in his cart for 3 laps before he realised, I should probably stop and hand this back. Technically, though, only 1 cone hit, so it was only 1 penalty.
So there you go.
Let's have another go at that one then, here in the lightweight sprint A final. All Titan Motorsport front row. Jack O'Neill on pole position. Owen Genman there, P2. 2 minutes knocked off the time. 10-minute final. Here we go. Owen Genman trying to squeeze down to hold on to second place this time as they go through. He's not happy they've been forced out wide. There's a lot of loading through the first corner. And poor Owen Genman, after a great weekend, has already been forced a long way down the order. Josh Adams was big time over the curb. Are they all going to fit through? There's more drivers going through that little bit of a cut through that I didn't even know was a cut through. Penalty for Mike Coppin. He's been adjudged to be the loader, and Bailey Morgan has been spun round on turn number 5. It's another fairly messy start to the A final.
It is, but we are racing this time around though, so we're going with it. And Jack O'Neill getting a good start this time around. Owen Genman, as you say, not a great start for him at all. He gets a track limit warning just to sweeten the deal, obviously. But yeah, he will not be happy with that start, especially going in towards turn 1. You saw the arm in the air there from him. Meanwhile, though, Jack O'Neill in the lead, Dan Healy in second place, and that's Reece Pope in third. He's had a great start then up towards turn 2. We will go. Does he fancy a move this time around? No, he doesn't. He stays put for now. Mike Coppin with that penalty, though. He will be in fourth place. He's adjudged to be loading there. That gets that penalty, so he'll be further down the order. Peter Knight in fifth place with Theodoru rounding off the top 6 so far.
Lots of movements up and down the order. I'm seeing a range. The biggest mover so far is Ben Lambeth, who was up 8 positions. The biggest loser, Bailey Morgan, down 11. Jed Toole down there as well. There's Mike Coppin, who you know has already got a penalty here, trying to pull away from Peter Knight. But at the moment, Dan Healy, this is very much deja vu. This is similar to the scenario that we were in last year, where, again, if my memory serves me correctly, he sat behind Ed Bars for the early stages of the A final and picked his moment, took the lead with a minute and a half or so to go, and went on to win. And what was a streak of finals victories on streamed rounds. And once again here at Bayford Meadows, he's in perfect position to attack Jack O'Neill. Jack O'Neill has not stood on the top step of the podium so far this weekend, which is a bit of a rarity in 2021. Can he put that right here in the sprints?
Yeah, just a penalty there for the number 9 of Josh Adams for track limits. Meanwhile, Dan Healy is applying the pressure then to Jack O'Neill as we make our way through the penultimate corner on towards turn 12 we go. Right on his tail then as we head our way towards the start-finish line. 7.5 minutes left to go. And Jack O'Neill definitely feeling that pressure from behind. In towards turn 1 we go. Up towards turn 2. And Reece Pope just hanging back for now. Probably grab that popcorn. Here comes Healy up the inside in towards turn 3. And he's got that move done. Up into the lead goes Dan Healy ahead of Jack O'Neill.
Yeah, very calmly done as well. There was enough space on the inside left by Jack O'Neill for Healy to place his karts. Healy has not won an A final so far this season. He's had 3 second places, but hasn't stood on the top step of the podium since the 2020 season. 6.5 minutes to go. It's 2 groups of 3 at the moment working together. Healy, O'Neill and Pope. Coppin, Knight and Brunton, the second group. Good to see our C2s having a strong run so far today. Just have a reminder of myself of Reece Pope's results so far in finals. I don't think he's had a top 3. No, he has not. So he's more than on for a best result of the year so far in the overall stakes. And it would be a big move as well in that C2 battle, where at the start of the day, Alistair Irvine was in 11th place overall in the points, but second in C2, closely followed by Steph Theodoru and Reece Pope. So Reece Pope here could be solidifying his place in the top 3 of C2.
Well, in C1, Dan Healy leading the way ahead of Jack O'Neill. Mike Coppin would have been the 3rd place driver in that class, but it's actually Fraser Brunton who overall is in 6th place right now as the drivers make their way on towards the first turn once again. Personal best being set all around. Dan Healy fastest lap of the race though, 54.220, and he's brought him 0.2 of a second on that last lap. Gap's now just under half a second as they crossed the line last time out. And actually, Reece Pope here could make himself a bit of a nuisance to Jack O'Neill here. He's really applying the pressure this time around as they head their way through turns 5 and 6. They go through turn 7, back onto that short straight up towards turn 8 as Reece Pope has a look over his shoulder. Yep, it's definitely just you two battling for that second place at the moment. Through turn 9 they go. And so what does Reece Pope do from here? He knows he can try and get this move done. He knows he might even have the pace to pass Jack O'Neill, but passing him entirely is a different question.
Absolutely is. And having a look over as well, they're just trying to say, yep, and they're going to work together. They're going to work together to try and close down Dan Healy. It must be the cameras. The number of times Dan Healy's been able to do this, he's had a fairly quiet day, got his results through the heats, turned up in the A final, and then just turned it up a notch. And you get the sense from O'Neill and Pope that whilst they're working together, they're feeling a bit desperate at the moment and thinking, what do we have to do to close Dan Healy down?
Yeah, and it is that case of, you start to work together, but at the same time, that's sort of an upper hand to the leader, because if you need two of you to work together to catch the leader, well, Dan Healy might not be able to see this. He's just going to keep pressing on and on. But eventually, Reece Pope will turn on the offensive entirely and try and get second place in this race.
Steve Hicks, unfortunately, has withdrawn from this race. Hope you see you back soon, Hicksy, in better times as well. Keep your chin up, mate. 3.5 minutes of this one to go. Track limit warning for Ed Bars. Now, where is Ed at the moment? He's in 7th place, which would not be improving his championship score. I think we're bringing to play a 4th place earlier in the season on his scorecard. Yeah, it's not really been Ed's day. From his very first heat of the day, where he was lounging outside the top 5 in a tough grid, he's been on the back foot in comparison to his 2 championship rivals, Healy and O'Neill, as we've gone through the programme. And, big off. It's Irvin and Theodoru. Not quite sure where that is on circuit. They both look okay. Theodoru was in about 10th place. And both of them falling out of the top 10. I think that might be on turn 4. I'm hearing reports that Theodoru might have been airborne for a short moment, but such is the testament to safety of these Club 100 karts that both drivers are okay. Now, we'll just see here whether this means that the race is neutralised. I think it's just being dealt with by local yellows at the moment. It's turn 8 and 9, isn't it? It's time 9 into 10. They've gone off, and that's a very easy point of the circuit to trip over someone, Kieran.
It is, yes, and they're being covered by the yellows right now. It just means that drivers have to slow down, no overtaking through there whilst the incident is dealt with. Meanwhile, though, Reece Pope, well, he's being given the thumbs up by Jack O'Neill there, but how much longer will it take for Reece Pope to think, actually, let's just bin off our title hopes, let's bin off the chance of a victory. I want your second place.
Yeah, and with 90 seconds to go, bump and pass penalty in for Garrett Berry. It's just got a little bit, and in fact, there's a mechanical flag for Dan Seeger. Now, I wonder if Dan was involved in the incident that's seen Steph Theodoru and Alistair Irvin at the side of the road. It's probably something along the form of exhaust. I can't hear any loose exhausts at the moment. Maybe a side pod instead. But Dan Seeger with that mechanical flag is going to have to come into the pits. 2 more laps, I think, for our drivers out there. And Dan Healy looks in full control of this, Kieran.
At the moment, yep, he does. Jack O'Neill, meanwhile, doesn't look so comfortable with that second place right now. Reece Pope might be seeing that timer ticking down and starting to turn his attention to try and grabbing second place, because now you see Jack O'Neill starting to drive a little bit more defensively than he was a couple of laps ago. Through turn 7 they go on towards that short stretch towards turn 8, and they did close in marginally on that last lap to Dan Healy. Through they go through the turn 9, then through turn 10 they will go. And Jack O'Neill here just has to hold on for a little bit longer as they head their way through and towards the final corner.
Last lap board will be shown then to Dan Healy. There it is. What a victory this would be. Reece Pope's just gone and done the fastest lap of the A final so far, 54.177. Well, a win in September at Bayford Meadows in 2020 sparked a real late season surge from Daniel Healy, which saw him take second place in the 2020 Lightweight Sprints Championship. He hadn't won an A final up to that point of the season. And he's going to do the same again here in 2021. Just a few more corners for him to, and I think he is really just coasting at the moment. He's just making sure that he doesn't make any mistakes. 2 more corners to go for Dan Healy. This is going to be a very, very impressive victory for an experienced driver these days. Dan Healy takes his first win in lightweight sprints in 2021 here at Bayford Meadows. Is that the start of a season charge to the title? It's a big win over Jack O'Neill, current points leader. Reese Pope takes an overall podium and a C2 win. Very well deserved for Reese Pope there in the number 42. Peter Knight, fantastic at Bayford here again. 4th overall, 2nd in C2. Mike Coppin, 5th, 3rd in C1, but has penalties, so he'll probably lose that spot. Fraser Brunton will inherit it. Ed Bars finishes a slightly low energy day, I feel, for Ed Bars there in 7th place, but I'm sure he will be back, especially when we have the next streamed round at Wilton Mill in a few weeks' time. 8th for Josh Adams, 9th for Dan Seeger, 10th for Ben Lambeth. Very impressive here today in C2. Owen Genman, well, we'll be thinking what could have been 11th place for him in the end of the A final, but with the speed that he's had this weekend, probably deserved a lot more. 12th for Aidan Rudge. A very impressive drive from a novice in C2 there. 13th for Garrett Berry, 14th for Pietro Pagano, 15th for Daz Teal from the B final. Adrian Mertens 16th. He deserved more today, if I'm being honest, but that's a really good set of races from Adrian, and I'm sure he'll be back for more. 17th for James Wattis, 18th for Adam Harding, 19th for Romanas Sakauskas, 20th for Greg Smith. 2 C3 frontrunners from last year in the top 20 in an A final. That's what we want to see. Jed Toole 21st, Rogerio Mendes 22nd, Bailey Morgan 23rd, Steph Theodori 24th, Alistair Irvin and Stephen Hicks were retirements. Kieran, what do you think of that? Last words.
Yeah, a nice battle for the lead there. It's a good teamwork between Jack O'Neill and Reese Pope. Wasn't quite enough, and I think Reese Pope there, I think, was a little too kind to Jack O'Neill. He definitely could have tried to challenge for that 2nd place, but in the end, he got the C2 victory, got 3rd place overall in this one. That's big points for Reese Pope.
It is indeed. Kieran, thanks for all your help today.
It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic stepping in.
Thank you for having me.
Last minute. We will be back for the next streamed round. Will be at the home of Alpha Live at Wilton Mill on the 10th of October. Do make sure you tune in for that. Do make sure you subscribed, press the notification bell, shared this stream, and give it a like as well. If you've enjoyed the commentary, at @MM across the various pieces of social media. And that's all we've got time for here at Bayford Meadows. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. We will see you very, very soon for more Club 100.